Welcome, everybody. Hey, we got everybody joining in here, so we'll give everybody a chance to get in and get settled. Excited to chat with you all today. Here on Tuesday. Can't believe it is the end of July. It's wild. It's wild. Anything interesting going on? Is everybody's lives boring? We got anything cool anybody wants to share?
I have a wedding tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Midweek elopement,
Yeah. That's cool. Where's that going to be at?
Newport Beach. It's going to be on the beach. It's like a cliff. It'll be kind of cool.
That sounds neat. I wish we had something like that here, but we don't. There's a cool place that they could do elopements, but nobody ever does. It looks like a really cool place, actually, cliffs and neat stuff, but nobody ever, as far as I know, nobody ever gets married or elopes out there. So for what it's worth. Let's see. So I think we've got just about everybody for today. I think we've still got a few, but we're going to get started. So per the usual, I'm going to get, actually, Kevin, Ashton, y'all are going to be first, but if anybody needs to get going soon, okay, please let me know. Okay. Good faith on this. So if you got to go pick up kids, you have a really good reason, let me know. Just put it in the comment box and we'll kind of expedite you here a little bit, but we're going to get started. What's up, Kevin, Ashton? Good to see you all.
What's up, man? It's going good. Staying busy, trying to not sweat to death. So
yeah, I hear you on that. Well, we're going to dive in here. I've got your site. So I'm going to screen share in just a second, get it pulled up. Cody's just opting to go last. So that's a new one. I haven't had anybody opt to go last. He just wants all the attention. That's what it is. I'm just teasing, by the way, Cody. Please don't be offended. All right. So talk to me about what you guys have done specifically that you're wanting me to look at. I know that we talked about you working on an experience page, so I know that's new. But is there anything in particular that you do want me to look at other than me just going in and doing a thorough sort of general review?
A thorough general review would be good. We've got the last time that you and I got together, we got full story up and running.
Okay.
And I took I looked at some of those, and I'm not really sure what to make of them. Of how to improve our site based off of what you would see there. No, it's just the lag. So.
Okay, cool. So I've gotten full story, not sure how to really interpret what you're seeing. So we want to look into that a little bit deeper. And just, I'm going off my memory a little bit here, but did you, seems like you guys had maybe a warning from Google about clickable elements being too close together.
Yeah,
was that you guys?
It was, and that was a couple months ago. And I think we solved that. It was the logo and stuff like that. And I also spread out. I mean, I recently changed our header there to be more aesthetically pleasing, I think. So.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that was taken care of. That can affect things. So, it may even be worth going into Google Search Console and just submitting it to be indexed and see to be sure that's cleared up. Now, if you know, then cool. But that is one of those issues we'd want to take care of. So I'd recommend it. In terms of looking at your site generally, the first thing that I like to do is just pull up SEO Quake. Let's kind of do a brief look over. I think last time we talked, you guys were on second page of Google for your
we're on
website.
Second page. Yep.
Is it still there?
Yes.
All right. Any movement whatsoever?
I mean, it fluctuates between 10 and 12.
Okay. 10 would be page 1.
Sweet.
So sounds like you may be kind of bouncing around there. Let's take a look. Just make sure all this looks solid. Looks pretty good. We do tend to see a lot better click-throughs whenever it is in first person, just as a heads up. So for me, I'd make this like you guys talking to them directly.
I'm seeing that warning there about 300 characters.
Yeah. Yeah. The length is a little bit, you'll see different platforms giving you different recommendations. I do tend to think that SEO Quake's the most generous though, from what I see at 300 characters. So I generally say under 300 characters is best. Now, the content that I recommend is basically just, you know, introduce yourself briefly. You know, you can even, I kind of encourage people to experiment with this, but you can even storytell briefly, like a brief line. But the three things you need there are what you produce. So, you know, X type of photos for X type of couples producing X type of emotional benefit. That's really what you want that to be, because people are going to see that meta description and quickly decide if they should click on your site. So
Okay.
most everybody else is talking in third person. So just by talking like in first persons, you immediately start to set yourself apart. You know, and this is the difference between, you know, maybe getting 0.5% CTR to getting up around 3, 4, 5%, which is a massive difference in how many clicks you're going to get. So this is a little thing that can make a huge difference in your total amount of clicks.
Okay.
Which is visitors, right? So that's one thing I'd maybe touch on. Let's look at your keyword structuring. I think you're is it Tulsa wedding photographers is your main keyword?
Yes. Yep.
Spearhead. Cool. All right. You've got the singular on there as well, looks like to me. It's interesting, it's not showing up as a 3-word keyword. Tulsa, but you do have it. See that. Good. Okay, got the in Tulsa. I see Oklahoma there. Dig it. Still use the plural variation of that. We gotta let Lois in here. Looks like you got photography. That's in the meta description. Keep in mind, your meta description does not count towards the keywords on your page.
Okay.
So I would get the wedding photography, Tulsa, you know, wedding photography in Tulsa, something like that. Other than that, your keyword structure, just from like a brief look over, looks pretty solid. So that good job on that. Let's go ahead and pull up. I'm going to let you screen share this. Pull up Google Search Console for me.
It says host disabled participant screen share.
What'd you do?
There
Just teasing.
we go.
All right, go for it.
All right. So I was all prepared and everything. And when I go to Google Search Console, it's for the first time ever, it's asking me to do this.
Yeah. Are you sure that you're under the right email address? Like the profile?
I mean, I can try a different one. Let's see here. Then.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should be able to even click on it right there. It should be under one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, look at that. There you go.
It's like you've seen it before.
Yep. Been there,
All
done
right.
that.
Cool.
All right. And then do you know which version is getting the most amount of clicks?
I don't. I have been trying to do that one right there.
Okay. So this, we're on the HTTP www. Do we have, oh yeah, we do have the HTTPS without the www. This is for everybody. If you haven't done this yet, this is a good example. Notice that the HTTPS non-www version actually has less clicks than the HTTPS www. So if you have not done this, go to Google Search Console, figure out which property has the most amount of clicks. That's typically the one that you're going to prioritize and make sure that you're reviewing when you're looking at your performance, because you're going to get limited data on other versions. Another thing that will probably be a good idea to go ahead and do in here is we'll add property and get your main sub, like your not subdomain, but your main domain inside of here. Now it's a little bit tricky because you think, wait a second, main domain. isn't that the one that should have all the, the most traffic? Not necessarily. So go ahead and type your website, no prefix, just the .com. And continue. We're good. Now hold on a second. All right. So what we'll do is we'll grab this Google site verification. Now go ahead, and this is going to be different for everybody. So don't everybody think you have to do exactly what we're doing, but for Squarespace specifically, let's go ahead and go into your Squarespace login area. And I do recommend everybody should make sure that they have this version. If you don't, it's maybe not the end of the world, but it's better to go ahead and put it in there if you don't. So again, get inside Google Search Console, just make sure that you have it. And we're going to go for Squarespace into your DNS settings. So domains, ashmarie.com. Then from here, it's going to have this DNS settings, and you should only have to ever do this once. But if in the future you need to access DNS settings, well, looky, you know how to do that. So how exciting, right? We're just going to go in here and add a record. Host, we're going to make it, we're just going to put the @ sign. That should be fine. That's going to be a TXT. Then we're going to add that text that we copied from Google. And let's see if it does it. Sometimes it can take a little bit for this to actually populate. So you may not get an immediate, hey, it worked. Sometimes you do though. So let's see. I want to make sure we're in the right one though. I think it was this one.
Yes. Yep.
Let's give it a shot. Like I said, if it doesn't work, you may try it in like a couple hours, but hey, what do you know? It actually worked for you. So you get the green check mark right out of the box. And this one can sometimes get more data. So highly recommend that you do check this. And if this is the one that ends up getting the most data, rock and roll with it. Go ahead and inspect your site there. And this will also tell us if you have any of those mobile issues like we had before. So we'll get a chance just to double check, make sure that you don't have any mobile issues. Everybody else, you should be aware of whether or not you have any mobile issues or not. If you've submitted it to be indexed again, you probably are not going to have it if you don't have it in the very beginning, unless you've done some design stuff to your site. If you do any sort of like design stuff to your site, like you've changed the size of your logo or something like that, you should be checking that just to make sure that you don't have anything that's super weird in terms of like, okay, clickable elements too close together, which Kevin and Ash, I think you guys had clickable elements too close together. And then there was another one, I forget what it was. But hopefully we fixed it. No issues. The way you can tell for sure is you do want to go ahead and inspect and request indexing, but I also like to do test live URL. So since we're here, we'll go ahead and do that real quick as well. You've already got full story open, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Okay, cool. So we'll let this do this. Indexing requested. Cool. It doesn't look like there's any issues from what we see here, but I still like to do that test live URL just to be sure. So we'll let it do its work. While that's doing that, let's switch over to full story and let's go to, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So somebody from New York. I kind of want to like, they won't let me expand that. Will they? Can we make this larger? Are you cool if I expand it?
Yeah. Whatever you need to do.
I just want to be able to see the actual time spent, because I don't like looking at full stories that are super short. I'm just not a big fan because it's like it doesn't really give us a whole lot of data. So hey, look, this person is on there right now, it looks like. So I don't know, maybe it's somebody inside this group, but that's my live from New York. It's Mastermind session live. Let's look at this one. Broken Arrow. Do you know where that is?
Yes. I mean, it's Tulsa metro area.
Okay. So come in, contact, scroll down, looking at next steps. They're going to check out the experience page, scroll down. They kind of got some scroll action going on. Blog. This is one of those, like, what the world they doing? Why are they just clicking on stuff? Now, this could be somebody, and I see they're coming from Facebook. Did you post something specific to Facebook here recently?
No,
Not in like 2 years.
no.
Not in 2 years. Awesome. Well, this person found you on Facebook, and it looks like they're kind of checking out your pictures. Other than that, we don't know too much. So sometimes it's nice to know, like, oh, well, they found me, specifically in relation to this thing that I shared. That doesn't really help us too much, though, if you haven't posted recently. Maybe they searched you on Facebook. It's just kind of hard to tell.
I mean, my Instagram's synced through Facebook, but I post on Instagram maybe once a month. So.
Okay. Here's a long one from Chicago. Let's see what we got going on here. What we're looking for is, are they stopping where we think they should stop? Are they engaging with what we think they should be engaging with in order to develop a mental model of us in their minds? Because we want to be intentional about the mental model. So they're they do some scrolling, they get down to the bottom, they're like, and then they're gone. Of course, who knows what they're thinking? We don't know what they're thinking.
Right.
Because I don't feel like we have a lot of stuff on our website, because he and I have talked a lot about, like, I like editorial portraits, like the very glamorous, elegant stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But since we took off our galleries, like you guys recommended, I feel like we're lacking photos, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, I mean, a couple things. One is, we don't say to take off galleries, for one. So galleries are fine. More so portfolio is what we look to exclude. So yeah, portfolio would be more.
Our gallery was our portfolio. It had like
okay.
70 images, no text, no nothing, just a bunch of photos.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the reason that we do tend to try to avoid that is because what we see almost exclusively is people hit that portfolio page, and the rate at which they tend to inquire once they've hit a portfolio page is very, 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 very low. Now, your website, really, if you think about it, your website basically serves as a portfolio, right? I mean, they're seeing the different images in the different areas. So they come in and they should be exposed to the type of work that you're wanting to produce. So it's not bad to include images, but it's just a matter of saying, okay, here's the specific images that I want them to see. And then again, using them in a strategic way. So we haven't looked at your experience page, and we will go back to your website. So I might make some suggestions as we go through there about where you would include other images. But, if you and your clients tend to prefer like the more elegant portraits, then I would look to be including more of those versus some of the other ones. But that really comes down to your preference. You do want to show what you want to sell, right? And I will say the candids a lot of times are what we've seen, and this goes back to your ideal clients though, but candids, we've seen actually people switch from candids to more formal photographs, like looking in the camera, and it caused a drop in bounce rate and session duration. Now, that being said, if it's a more candid looking portrait, that might be a different story. Because there's a difference between a posed formal photograph where someone's looking in the camera and a more candid looking portrait.
Yes,
right?
Typically what we do is we get a good blend of that. We get a good blend of them looking at camera, but then we'll get them in those pose moments and, tell him to whisper something in her ear or something like that, So
cool.
We don't do the like run across the field and jump on each other's back type of candid, stuff. But yeah, we do have a lot of pose, and then once we get them in that pose, we bring out the candid moments, I guess.
Cool. Okay, perfect. Well, let's finish looking at full story real quick, and then we're going to switch over to your site. So you don't have a whole lot of sessions on here just yet. So like I'm looking through, I'm seeing like I don't even know, how do you say Wowcon, maybe Walcon? Any of these look familiar to you?
Now let me see this really quickly if I can.
Go for it.
Oh, where am I at? Here we go. Let's see here. Because I had a whole, here's I don't
There we
know what
go.
the difference is here.
Yeah, now we got more data inside of here. So this is like the area that I typically go to. Not robots. Let's avoid robots. Chicago one, I think, is one we already looked at. Yukon, I think that one is not in the United States. Edmond, you know where Edmond is?
Yeah, that's Oklahoma City.
Okay, let's check it out. So they found you through the Brides of Oklahoma.
Yep.
Make
Makes
a
sense.
beeline for the experience page, it looks like. Kind of checking it out. Now, looking at the experience page, and this is kind of one thing I love doing, even besides giving like general advice, saying, well, what are people actually doing? One thing that would allow you to include more of your photographs, because again, it's not that you want to not show any photographs. You do want to show the photographs. You want to take pictures that are going to resonate and show pictures that are going to resonate with your ideal client. So like right now we've got one picture with like multiple details surrounding it.
Yeah, and I feel like when you see it on the phone view, I was like, this is too much text.
Yeah. In the phone view, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my thinking is you could sort of split these up and include an image with each one.
Sweet.
And so like right now, even you've got, you're not going to see me screen share this, but I'm looking at like the wedding process. Step 1, inquiry. Step 2, let's talk, save the date, etc. That sort of layout is probably going to be a better layout for this, because I think that again, it's going to enable you to use more of your photographs.
Okay.
And it's going to more than likely make a lot more sense on mobile. On mobile, you got to be careful because you start having these big blocks of text and then no visual stimuli. And so that's going to cause people to sort of, you got to have that balance.
Yep.
If you don't have that balance, people, they say big chunk of text and it's like, no. So I think that's going to be a good way to sort of compromise on that. Another thing that I noticed on that experience page there's kind of like a big chunk of white space between the text and what we do differently. So we may be able to, we can look at this whenever I screen share here in a little bit, but like you see the what we do differently. And then above that's the wedding experience that has a congrats, you found your perfect match, about to start. And then that paragraph, then there's like a big chunk of white space.
Yep.
So big chunks of white space just kind of feel empty. So it creates a negative impact. So I always try to say, if you got any sorts of unnecessary white space, and it's not that you need to fill it, it's probably more so just close the gap a little bit, give a healthy amount of white space. But anything that looks like, it almost looks like there's supposed to be something there, that's going to create a negative impact. So, again, we're just kind of deriving a few things as we watch how people are interacting here. So let's get through this video. Then here in a second, we'll go back over and actually screen share and point out a couple things. So let's see what they do. They're going to go figure out about inquiring. Now that looked like they clicked on the inquire button and then it took them back to the experience page. Did it not?
No, this is our contact page, and I'm kind of wondering what's up with this spot where we're at, because that's supposed to be a contact form. So
yeah, it's there. Full story, just because of the privacy laws, because people are putting in,
okay,
information that it's technically like you could be liable if you allowed them to. I think there's a way to allow them to record that.
Sure.
But then you're technically liable for that because you're recording their personal information in a way that is not exclusive for your eyes only.
Sure.
So yeah, don't freak out about that. It's actually just a safety feature. And it looks like they're hanging out on that contact form. Did you get an inquiry from somebody in Edmond?
Ashton's pulling it up to check right now.
Because to me, that looks probably, and I'm seeing this referred by public.honeybook.com. So to me, that says they
Yeah.
filled out your Honeybook contact form.
The city.
Yeah, it looks like we may have gotten one last night. It's got a Oklahoma City area code.
11:12 p.m.
What time was that received, Ash?
And
Yeah,
11:17.
11:17. So that was it.
There you go. So this is a good one to look at. Notice what they did. They went to, I forget what they started
Oh,
at.
that's a picture of me. I haven't seen this.
I do all of our website stuff, and Ashton does
I know.
all of our inquiry to booking.
I know.
So,
But notice they went to the experience page, you know, and they,
right off the bat, like directly. Yeah.
and that's what we're seeing. That's why we de-emphasize the portfolio page, because, you know, when we see this stuff and then we think about it and we go, well, why is it that the portfolio page, which we think should be, and I know people, I know a prominent educator that says they say portfolio and contact. That is what they teach to do. And
Right.
I look at it at the data and go, that's the worst possible pathway.
Well, let them keep teaching that. So
For sure. Now, and they're not bad. They teach lots of great stuff.
oh yeah, yeah.
I think that the thinking is, oh, well, if people just go to, you know, just give them what they want. But the problem is, it's like you do that for a child, and how well nourished are they going to be, right? If you give a
Right.
child what they want, you give them Cheetos, marshmallows, and cinnamon rolls, they're not going to be the healthiest kid, right?
Hey, that's like my diet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, we're adults.
Them's
We can
fighting
make
words,
those sorts of
Jeff
decisions,
Armstrong.
right? What did you say, Jeff?
I said them's fighting words, Jeff.
I know, I'm offending some people here, but here's the distinction: we're adults, right? We can make those decisions here. But when people come into your website and we give them the marshmallow, which is your portfolio, which is just training them to look at more of your photos, which is then going to cause them to put you into a bucket compared to other photographers, versus if they fall in love with you and your process because you're intentionally withholding the marshmallows and instead giving them the ribeye dinner, where they're getting a mental model of you developed in their mind, that is going to be what creates the connection. It creates a sense of closeness, so that they're precluded from even thinking about others because of the exclusive nature of the wedding photographer relationship. So that's what we're intentionally trying to craft. And it takes some massaging. I mean, we know that there's certain things that are like set in stone. Like we're just seeing it. It's like portfolio page is like a death knell almost always. However, we're like, okay, well, shoot, if you get them to the experience page, that tends to have a much better result in terms of inquiries. Same with about page. Now that's a tricky one too, because it's not everybody goes to the about page. They need to be ready for the about page. That's why I don't say just send them to the about page now. I used to think that was the best thing because we'd see good conversions, but we've now seen, well, shoot, really, if they're experience page and then about me, and it doesn't have to include about me, but about me is nice too, because that means that they've gotten to the place of connection where they want to hear you talk more about yourself.
So what do you think about putting a little bit more blinders on for the visitors and getting rid of the about page and having all of that information then underneath of the wedding experience information with some buttons throughout to, like, you know, hey, if you're satisfied, you know, contact us now.
Yeah. So I am still in favor of putting the about me page in the navigation.
Okay.
Mostly because the people that do tend to click on it tend to also inquire at a high rate.
Okay.
The people that aren't ready to hear about you are going to click on experience. Even if they go to about me, they're probably still going to go to experience. So I don't say that you should get rid of the about me page. It's just that you do want to have an experience page. And I try to funnel people more so to the experience page versus trying to constantly get them to about me page. Now, once they're on the experience page, and I'll go ahead and stop the screen share because we're already getting a lot of data just from what we've looked at. I'm going to screen share your screen. Once they're on the experience page, I'm all about, like, okay, just give them the call to action to contact you. Now, I don't know if you got a chance to watch the video, but the first section, I like it to be a behind the scenes photo. Then it's a story about basically how you provided value beyond just taking the photographs.
Yeah, I watched that, and we're gonna add a story. We actually, the last wedding we just shot, the ceremony was happening and there was a thunderstorm coming in. Like you could hear the thunder and everybody's phones were going off saying that rain was in the area. So instead of having like a first shooter, second shooter, we split into 2 first shooters and knocked out their portraits.
Beautiful.
And, you know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna tell that story, I guess.
Beautiful. And I will tell you, that's one of the benefits of being a husband-wife team, right?
Right.
I mean, just being frank, it's like, hey, all of a sudden now you've got 2 first shooters basically. So you telling that story now becomes a internal vision that is going to differentiate you and already given the impression that you're there to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not it's not their day, but the story they begin to see themselves in.
Right.
That sets you apart. So love that. Of course, making some changes where you can involve some more of the photographs that you're wanting to include, I think would be great. Closing up the white space here would be great.
So I think
in
that
terms
just
of
just for the point of conversation here, I think that the amount of white space that we're seeing, like it definitely wasn't intentional. And I think that it's a byproduct of having different sections on that page with Squarespace's new way of doing things. Like there's no way to really close the gap because I don't like the negative space either. It's too much. But there's really no way to close that out.
Screen share for me real quickly, because I think you guys you're on 7.2, aren't you?
Yeah, and we've got the new block
fluid engine thing.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of negative feedback about it so far.
I think they're on the right track, but it's not there yet for sure.
I'm sure there's a lot of beta stuff going on, beta testing and all that. Let's get to that experience page and I'll see if I'm just kind of curious to see it for myself, because that'll give me a better insight of exactly what they're doing now. So we'll go into edit, and then you've got that sort of block.
So let's see here.
So it's you got the blocks. Yep.
And if I keep going down, like it's just going to keep making that section.
Yeah, it's bigger. Can I try to click on something real quick?
Yeah, have at it.
I'm just kind of curious. Do they not give you options now to like move this section? You think they would just give you the option to kind of like take this section. What if you, because I know how Squarespace works here and I've seen this. What if instead of making this a different section, could you not just include this, like, for instance, like just build it in one section?
Yeah, we can
multiple sections.
We can do that. I think the place where we would not be able to do that is if we wanted to have this background change colors here like this.
Yeah.
And
it'd have to be a different one. What's that little guy right there?
So you can take that.
Oh yeah.
I think there's also a way to where you can take the entire section
and move it down or up or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think those 2 sections there could be combined.
Yep.
And that would solve some of the white space. I'm still very surprised that they wouldn't have some feature that lets you come in and, almost like the top. So let me see here. So have you messed with any of this? Do you care if I just kind of click around and just kind of see?
Yeah, do it. You're good.
I figured it out.
So that, that kind of top weights it there. So that brings it down. That puts it, let's see. That almost makes it look like it raises it quite a bit. What's this height? That brings it up even more, right? But we still got everything in there. So that looks like it's made it a little bit better. I don't know what these are. Oh yeah, look, you got the numbered, so you can do custom.
There we go.
Yeah, looky. Now I bet you can do the same for this we do differently thing.
For sure.
What happens if you turn this off? Fill screen. Okay, so they're just giving you the options there. So to me, that looks best. And then you come in and just kind of, row count is the grid. I'm just curious to sort of, okay, cool. Yep. Gap. I wonder what that does.
It tightens up the blocks to where you can have more. Yeah, it's like going from the 5D Mark III to the EOS R. Like you just have more points.
Okay.
So
I mean, that's bringing that section up a little bit there as well. I mean, again, maybe there's a better way to do this than what I'm doing, but that there looks pretty good to me for that. And then I bet you for this section, any other Squarespace users in here, like, oh, cool. I know we're limited on how many people we've got in here, but this is the type of stuff that could be very, very helpful to to walk over and just at least talk about no matter which website your builder, or excuse me, which website builder you're on, because, you know, you need to be aware of like your spacing. Spacing definitely matters. Another just like design thing that I'll point out here is I typically like to have the first thing on the page the largest versus the second thing the largest, because it's just how our eyes are trained to think. So you know, if you keep it like this, which I know you're going to be doing some updates to this, I would still look to keep the first thing the biggest, you know, so you could even just bring this size down, maybe up the size on this one a little bit. But, you know, I mean, it's cool that you had somebody go to this and then inquire. Like, I mean, that's a literally, you know, that person may not have inquired last night if they didn't have that. So I'm kind of curious. Is there a way? Okay, so it gives you the center. Always be aware of that. Like trying to, you know, make sure stuff's like centered. It looks like, is it not wanting to go perfectly centered there? You know what I'm saying?
It's here. let me control it really quickly.
Go for it. It kind of, it's, I mean, maybe it's almost like it's just barely going over to the right. I'd maybe goof with it. There you go. There you go. That looks better. Cool. But for now, you know, I think this is good. I'm proud of you guys for the work you've done. Let me screen share real quick, and then I'm going to point out like a couple other things, and then let's keep rolling. And then we're gonna, you know, we'll get to the next person in the line here. But from your homepage, like you guys have a lot of great pictures, and you know, this first picture here is not bad, but like for me, I don't know if it's like her hair kind of blowing here or something, but like, you know, you've got the stray hair here. Yeah. I don't feel like this is your all's biggest, best wow photo. So, you know, maybe chat about that a little bit.
I agree with it. He says it's got a lot of emotion. So
yeah, you just like, you have photos that look a lot more high end, a lot more like exciting and flattering. So like, you know, I mean, to me, even, I mean, I know some people don't like photos like this, but again, it goes back to your type of clients. But like this photo, even the editing on it to me looks like this almost looks like it has an overlay, and that could be the like Squarespace doing that. So I also like to point that out. We had somebody last week, I was pointing that out too. It's like, hey, the first photo looks like it's got an overlay, and so then
it doesn't even look like our editing style.
Doesn't it looks like a totally different editing style. So like, honestly, you know, this is like, I love the way this is edited. Great photo. And same thing with like these all look high end, very consistent editing, looks great. But you know, this just does not line up. So I would choose a different photo personally. Again, you know, if your couples are kind of liking the posed elegant portraits, maybe a more candid one, like I'd do that, you know, throw that up there, see how it does. Another just a slight design thing, I would make your logo slightly larger, and the navigation probably just a little bit smaller. Okay. And then scrolling down a little bit, some of the white space stuff, sort of same thing. I personally think for you guys, because we have so much text here before we start getting into the nitty gritty, I would keep this, but make it smaller. I would probably just not do this and get straight into the
get rid of the hello.
I would, yeah, either that or it needs to be a lot smaller. It's just we've got a lot of text. I want to get people right into it in this instance. So I'm a big fan of, again, like shortening up, like not shortening, but making this smaller, closing the white space, and quickly getting them from the whoa picture into the you guys.
Does there need to be a button in between the mini about me and that top cover photo of like, check out our wedding experience, you know?
No. Let them get to this, and then from here, send them to the experience page. So like this, have this send them to the experience page. I know it sends to about right now, but and that's not bad. Love all these photos of you guys, by the way. These are great.
Thank you.
Take these, it still looks like it has an overlay on it though. So I would check that. There is a setting to turn on and off.
Yeah, it does look like
overlay.
It's got gray overlay.
Yeah. Yeah. Why, you know, it's like Squarespace thinks that's cool for some reason, but it's not cool.
I'm pretty sure that was like,
you know what I'm saying?
So we should probably get those updated.
Yeah, great photos. Love these, but send them to the experience. But you can do about, but I'm over the years. I know I have a video that teaches to send them to the about page. That needs to be updated. It's not bad, but I'm telling you, experience page we have seen just over the years, we've seen experience page performing better as the first step. The only exception is the people that seek out the about page. That's
I don't
the
know.
exception.
I wonder how many times that button's been clicked. I need to look at that before our next mastermind. I don't even know that that button right there has been clicked a single time.
Yeah. Well, and we want to work on it. You may experiment a little bit with it being like here versus down below like that. I think it'll likely have a higher chance of being clicked if it's here.
Okay.
So, but let's stop there because that's like a lot.
I got homework for sure. Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
I'm just
So-
glad we get to add more photos.
What'd you say?
We kind of had I like photos. I'd rather see a photo and then like a sentence and then a photo. So this is a good one for me to actually show to.
She feels like she won the battle today,
I
Jeff.
did.
So-
I know how it works being when you work together and you're married. There's a lot of pent up
We're super
like.
competitive in general.
Oh yeah,
I
we
know.
compete over
Yeah.
the best shot on wedding days. So
Yep. I know somebody just like that. So I won't tell you their names, but I know somebody just like that.
cool. Well, thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate you looking at our stuff and all that feedback. Thank you.
100%, y'all. Thanks for being here. All right. So let's see who we got. We know Cody's not next because Cody's going to be absolutely the last. So we just know it's anybody but Cody, I think. I did want to make sure. Oh yeah. So Cody said he's staying on his old version. Probably not a bad idea. I'm not going to lie. I'm on like the legacy version of Squarespace. So I'm like literally my theme is discontinued. I'm so old school. And I'll probably stick with it until they force me. I'm not saying y'all should do that if you're on Squarespace, but that's what I'm doing. All right. So here I've got McKenna. McKenna, are you here? I think you were here. Are you still here? Yeah. Looks like you're here. What's up?
I'm here.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Cool.
very
Okay.
tired, but doing good.
Well, we're gonna wrap on your I know you're talking about keywords. So let me get your site pulled up and
Okay.
we'll dive in. All right, it's loading. So I'm gonna get to screen sharing. You've done some cool stuff and I'm super proud of you. It looks so good. You took off the you were the other person that had the overlay stuff going on. That's who it was.
yeah, I figured it
so-
out forever, but I figured it out.
Well, you did it. So congrats. Looks really, really, really good. I think the photo video, like that's kind of hard to see. I might experiment a little bit with like, if you can keep this overlaid a little bit darker, that
Okay.
might be an option.
Yeah, because when you
look-
scroll down, it goes darker, and that's why I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah, it does. Well, but then it's like the gray becomes hard to see. So just experiment with that a
Right.
little bit more. I mean, I would get it to where, probably you keep an overlay on the sides even possibly,
Okay.
because like it gets a little bit hard to see the experience whenever, or any of the navigation when it gets over a light color. That is probably less important because honestly, like I'm kind of cool with them not focusing on that until, and really, you can experiment with this. But another thing that I've noticed over the years is if this follows them, they're less likely to follow your lazy river and just to use your navigation.
Dang it. Okay.
So now there, if you have a theme that doesn't let you keep it from being fixed, a few solutions is number one, take off the social
Oh,
buttons.
okay.
You don't want them to leave. You want them sticking on your site, right? So taking off the socials. Another thing is just making sure that you have these structured in a way that are going to lead to them clicking the things that you want. So the three most top clicked things tend to be the one to the furthest left, the furthest right. And then if you have one where it can be in the middle. So for example, like on mobile, if it lists them down straight, like vertically, then the one in the middle, which I don't know, like, I guess that makes sense. But that being said, I recommend taking off portfolio. It's a scary one for everybody. Like, really? I'm like, really? Okay. It sounds crazy to me if I hadn't have looked at the data over the years. So that's what I'm just saying, based on data, wouldn't include portfolio because you're going to get more than likely everybody's just going to do that. They're going to go portfolio, contact. They're not going to look at experience, etc. So, I would put experience to the far left more than likely, because that's going to be the first thing they look at in terms of left to right. And I would take portfolio out. You could put about, next to experience, and then you can have blog, contact over here. And you've got 5, so it's going to feel more balanced if you have 4 anyhow.
Right.
So I think that'll be good. Of course, the socials are going to be gone, so that's also going to help you out there. Another
Okay.
thing you may consider is taking off the box off of contact. I think there's someone teaching to do this. Someone
Okay.
taught you to do that, or did your theme come like that?
Yeah, because this is I have a friend who's a web designer, and so she did this.
Okay.
But
Well, I think somebody's teaching to do the box, and I think it is influenced by the what is it called? The storytelling brand or something. What's the book? Y'all help me out.
oh,
Do you know what
uh,
somebody's not chime in. Somebody knows what book I'm talking about. Building a story brand.
Story brand, yeah.
Yep. So, there's actually one of our members had read that book, and this is before they became a Dream Clients member. They were actually talking to me about how they felt that the building a story brand was largely based on like e-commerce style sites. And again, I haven't read it, so somebody else may confirm. But we're generally, they're not ready to contact you right at the get-go. So I always say, not forcing, but leading with contact page is almost like, going on the first date and being like, hey, you want to get married? So to me, I'm like, I'd rather de-emphasize contact and emphasize the romance, which is going to be, okay, land, whoa, bam. Now they're going to assign text. They're going to associate by proximity text, which is going to train them to read the text. Then bam, picture of you straight into the text. Okay. So one thing that I do want to know over time is how people are, and this is moving on. Okay. We're moving into a different realm of discussion. One thing I'd like to know over time with you guys is, okay, are people stopping and reading this? Because a couple things. One is that we tend to see the best engagement when there's one photo on the left that's clearly you. Like, it's not like a picture that could be portrayed as like an engagement session that you've shot or something like that. So this photo is actually great. They're going to look at it. They're going to be like, oh, that's them on the left-hand side.
okay.
Now, this aesthetically looks great. I like, you got the photo here, got the photo here, got the photo here. I do like this, so don't change it yet. Okay. This is more general advice, though, that we tend to see the best engagement when it's simple. Simplicity almost always wins. Photo on the left, then text on the right, then call to action. Don't do that just yet. Okay. Because we want to see how this works. And I get what you did here. It looks good. And I don't know, you may say, well, that was my designers doing. So good job on them. From an aesthetic standpoint, I like it. From a conversion standpoint, though, sometimes we see a drop in conversions when there's more going on. And it can cause the brain to sort of spiral into a level of chaos. And you don't look at this and go, oh, chaos. What it'll look like, though, is people going, oh, cool. And then they leave and just move on. We
Right.
don't want that. So sometimes simplicity is the best anchor. And I say sometimes rather understatedly. Okay. Simplicity is almost always the best anchor, which creates focus, which creates indulging in the content, which creates the internal image, which creates momentum and curiosity and the desire to go deeper and feel a deeper connection with you. Okay.
Okay.
Our approach, again, I would make this the story. So you've got this with tears in her eyes, the mother bride approached us with shaky hands. I would, maybe not all that, but you could put with tears in her eyes, ...
I changed that, but I guess I didn't publish it yet.
You gotta love it. Gotta love it when that happens. So minor thing that just, it's probably just me, but I'm a little bit OCD. So for what it's worth, I would try to make this text centered in the button. It looks like it's bottom weighted. So it's like, kind of hanging out down towards the bottom there. See the keywords you got in here. That's good. Featured work stuff, portfolio. Cool. If you've been published anywhere, which I think was it you or Andrea I think it was Andrea that just got published in a publication she was trying to. So I knew somebody recently told me that, but even before sending them to say like your because you got portfolio, so either featured work, or if you're using this as like a blog even, or galleries, however you're using it, regardless, I love immediately after the trust builder, which is your mini about me, give them the authority builders. This is where it's, if you've been published, put your badges. If you have resource articles, start featuring your resource articles. You want to, as quickly as possible, set yourself apart. Everybody's got a portfolio. So if you send them to portfolio or whatever, everybody's got that. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to build authority, because that's not what everybody's doing. Okay. We know if that makes sense. Andrea, I just saw where Andrea commented, this is literally what he teaches. Want to get married? No. Okay. Want to keep dating? Sure. Okay. Want to get married? No. Okay. Want to keep dating? Sure. Want to get married? Yes. Yep. So the really fast direct call, for some stuff, it can be really good if you've got a warm audience. So for example, if they've been checking you out on Instagram a whole lot, and that's part of your strategy, then yeah, come to your site. Let's do the thing right away. The problem is that, it's kind of like literally like just apply that situation to say like a dating relationship or any relationship. Like if I walk up, I did this one time when I first started in photography. It's a little bit embarrassing to think of now, but like there was a couple in in a McAllister's that like I could tell they just got engaged. Like they, like I could overhear them talk. Like he literally just proposed, and that she was showing off the ring. And I walked up and I gave him a business card. Do you think they called me? No, they did not call me. Right? Like it's tacky. It's tacky, so it's a bad business approach in general. So that's why for wedding photography specifically, now, again, if you got Instagram and you're e-commerce or whatever, and they're already super familiar with you, when they come to your website, that's a different story. But in this context, I do not like going for marriage on the first date. Let them go through your lazy river, give them the lazy river experience, get them to develop the mental model. That's warming them up to you and giving them the connection first, so that then the contact makes sense. So again, if you guys got thoughts on that, feel free to share. I love creating some conversations around, especially when someone else takes this other position that's wildly different than what we teach inside of here. Obviously we're wedding photographers and videographers specifically, but it's a good conversation to have. So, okay.
Could I think I'm doing something wrong when I submit my site, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Probably not. But if you've got a rare situation, I'll consider it. But go ahead and screen share if you want to. I'll look at it.
Okay.
What you're saying sounds like what many others have said. Are you getting the URL is not on Google?
It says I'm submitting an HTML page. And I'm like, what?
Okay. Well,
Just
that's probably, if you're trying to verify, then that's probably it too. But let's look at it and we'll see.
Okay. I am pulling up everything. Okay, man. I have so many pop-ups right now. Sorry, it's taking me a minute.
It's okay.
Okay. Because this is on Google Console, right? I'm like confusing the two, I think.
You can even, if you need me to help you get to it, because I know probably where you need to get to, you can feel free to screen share it. I can probably even get you to where you need to get.
Okay. Done this before. No. Where do I? Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry. I'm using out the one that's on Zoom. Okay.
All right. So let me request remote control. Requesting now.
And right now it's logged into the wrong email. I don't know why.
It's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it straightened out.
Okay.
So usually it's because of up here. Do you have another one? Like, is one of these the ones that
Yeah.
you did it through?
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
I don't know why there's two, because it looks like they're the same. I only have one picture.
Yep,
now.
yep. Do you think it's maybe person 2? You're on person 1 now.
So weird.
Wanna try it?
Let's try it.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
It should show it right away, I think. So this may not be right either.
Okay.
I don't know why though. It doesn't want to let me click on it now. Is there something up, like a different pop-up window or something? It's not letting me click suddenly. So we've done something.
Have this. Is that what we're talking about? I wonder. Let's see.
Could it possibly be under Clayton's?
We just have the McKenna and Clayton at Gmail.
Let's get in here. You've done this though?
Yeah, I've done this.
Okay. So click on your picture up here at the top right.
Okay. Sorry, all these are in the way. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Click on, see these 3 lines up here at the top left? Click on those for me. Search property.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know why it's doing that to you. So yeah, just click on one of them. Doesn't matter which one.
Okay.
All right. So were you seeing that error somewhere around here?
Yeah.
Or was it when you were going like and putting your website in here?
So it was when I was trying to man, I'm losing my words right now. It was when I like would change something on my website and I'd go to submit it. I can't remember.
Okay.
What it's called. And
Well,
then-
do this for me. Number 1, it's in here. So let's go ahead and just click it. Because it sounds like you're talking about this guy right here. But so far, so good. Not seen anything too out of the ordinary yet.
Okay.
Did you get this far?
Yeah, I've done this. Request
This where it showed you
indexing,
the error,
that's
though?
what it was. So when I would request indexing, that's when it would have the weird error, and it looked like it wasn't on Google. I couldn't figure out what it was doing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see here in just a second. It's going to process and then it'll tell us if anything's wrong.
Okay.
Got it. Yep. Nothing looks out of the ordinary to me.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Cody says maybe sitemap. We could check that just to be sure.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's because that's not a sitemap. That's a
Oh.
sitemap. That's a sitemap. And you're good on those.
Okay.
So you're good to go.
Okay.
I think you're fearing an apparition. Can't hurt
Yeah.
you. Can't hurt you.
Good. I was so confused.
Yeah. Now you're good on that. You know, I mean, you're on Show It.
Yeah.
Who's your domain provider?
Google.
Got it in Google. You know, the only other thing I might recommend here is you put in your website
Okay.
and then get into your DNS settings. Do you want to do that real quick?
Sure.
Type your website. And again, if anybody else hasn't done this, don't put the www. Leave the www out. Won't work with that. If anybody else hasn't done this, make sure you do this. I do recommend it. It's probably not going to kill you if you don't, but it's much, much, much more better if you do. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy. Let's see if let's go ahead and copy, go to your domain provider. So if it's Google, Google domains, let's get in there.
Okay. So I just do verify. Right?
Yeah, don't click verify yet. No. We got to put it in
Okay.
there before you click verify. You got to go to your Google domain area.
Okay. Let's switch to this one. Now. Yeah. Sorry, it is going so slow.
That's okay. We're here to make sure that you get things taken care of. That's the biggest thing.
Okay. Okay, actually might be under some. So
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's, it's got to be a different email address.
Hmm.
Because it should show underneath domains.
Right. Okay. Well, I have another
No.
email address.
Not that one.
It's so annoying. If you want, since it's taking a little bit, you go to someone else while I try to.
Yeah, we can do that. If you want to, figure out where it's at and get that all ready for us, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. It's taking.
Yeah, no,
so
it's all
long.
good. Cody's he said he's got his about me link in my sitemaps. So I think he was trying to make you feel better.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep rolling. Let me pull my list back up here. Give me just a second. I've got Alicia. Hey, Alicia. You still here?
Hello.
There we go. What's up?
Not much.
SEO Edge review. Spearhead at 6 uses, but only 2 port. Okay. I think we're talking about SEO Quake, or are those 2 different things that we're talking about?
Yep, SEO Quake is.
Okay. 2.4 density, 6 uses, and then experience page stuff. Let me get your site pulled up. And then which page are we talking about the density on? Is it?
Yeah, so I was playing around with trying to get some more keywords all interlaced into that homepage to try. I removed the scrolling text that was at the
Okay.
top that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And so then I was trying to get my spearhead keyword back up in density and prominence, because obviously that dropped off massively after, the scroll was out of there. So I was trying to figure out where to put that and work on some other keywords and updating it. Like my SEO Quick says that I have 6 instances of my spearhead.
Okay.
But the density and the prominence aren't as high as I would like them to be. And so I wasn't quite sure. And it seems like some of my other keyword phrases were only showing up as like 2-word fragments of those phrases. And they weren't really showing up much in the 3 or 4-word phrases at all. So I was a little confused as to why that was happening. I haven't run into that before.
Okay. Let me make sure wedding photographer. And you got the Milwaukee. Okay, good. Good. Okay. Do you have your state on there anywhere yet?
Yes, I have Milwaukee, Wisconsin wedding photographer down at the bottom, like the 3rd line up.
Okay.
I should have
Right there.
weddings in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WI, just the abbreviation.
Okay. I'm going to say, don't worry about this.
Okay.
I would leave it.
All right. Yeah, because my density prominence were right where they were supposed to be with the scrolling feature, but the repeats were too high.
Yeah.
So trying to find that.
I'm thinking that Squarespace is new. Are you using the Fluid Engine or no? Did you say you're not using it?
No, I am still on a Brian template. So
okay.
A bit behind the newest stuff right now.
Yeah. Now, what I'm looking at now, I think you're fine to leave this here for now.
Okay.
And that's going to give us enough data to where we can kind of see what Google Search Console is doing. Have you seen any change in your rankings yet on this?
No.
Can you pull up Google Search Console for me? See what it's got you doing.
Yeah.
when's the last time you submitted this to be indexed?
Yesterday.
Okay. And before that when was last time?
A couple times this week. I've been doing a bunch of work, like, yeah, the last several days.
Cool. All right. So I want to make sure.
Going back and forth, they look like they're basically the same for both.
Okay, let's get your www version in here too. So HTTPS with the www. If you'll type that in for me. Good. Yeah, continue. Should auto verify. Yep. Once that one gets some data, I'd maybe just compare to be sure.
Yeah.
Showing 14.
Yeah, at
15.
this point, my portrait page for Milwaukee is still holding steady at like 40. I don't know. I bounce back and forth between like 44 and 48, which is good, but no upward movement again on the homepage. So.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at a few of these, just kind of see what they're doing in the recent days. So kind of just hanging out a little bit of hanging out. Just not too weird for first week. Now I am seeing sudden increase in impressions here. There's a huge uptick in impressions. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen as a result of that. Milwaukee portrait. There's a Seattle stuff. Here's Milwaukee. Let's see what it's doing. Huge increase in impressions. Make sure it's the right page. All right. And do you still have a Seattle page?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I want to see to make sure that these guys are kind of, we should be seeing these drop off. Do you have any direct links built to that Milwaukee page?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I went through and changed all of my like profiles to, well, I guess a lot of them are to my homepage. Should I be putting the end tag of Milwaukee or wedding photography, Milwaukee wedding
I
photography?
would. Yeah. Cause essentially we want to start building up the page authority.
Okay.
Um,
Even though that's the homepage and it's like a redundant variation of the homepage.
well, I mean, it does have that unique slug.
Yeah.
So I would include the unique slug for it, because anytime that you have a link built that's been built to a specific page,
yeah,
that specific page is going to gain unique special authority over what you just gained site-wide.
Okay.
So building some specific links, and ideally again, anchor text. So even internally matters. So like if you have, links from other pages to this Milwaukee page, and the anchor text is, Milwaukee wedding photographer in Milwaukee, Milwaukee wedding photography, that is going to help Google understand that specific page. So that's a good thing to do. But what I'm excited about seeing is we're kind of seeing like all these variations of your keywords popping up. That's what I'm excited about seeing. We're still seeing a little bit of the blip stuff like we have seen before though. So that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, let's check out Google Analytics to see what's going on, because that usually is going to come down to bounce rate, session duration. Now, if those are good, then it's still a little bit early in the game to tell for sure, but let's go in and kind of check stuff out. We might see some, depending on how much you've been on your own site, you might see it being influenced by some of that, but
I try to stay off it too much.
Yeah. We'll keep it at 7 days and then do a comparative last period just to see what we're seeing.
Awesome. 100%.
Yeah, went up 4,000%. So that could be influenced a little bit by you. Of course, bounce rate of 0, which bounce rate of 0 is kind of nice because you do have 8 new users. So
That's
that,
the
that,
thing,
you
if you go
know,
to the main like page where it shows your overall like site-wide bounce rate, like for a couple times when I've pulled it up, it's just said 0%. And I've wondered what's going on there because I know it's not 0%. Like if you look at my full story, you know, a lot of the visitors are like robots and, you know, people just popping on from, I don't know, somewhere in the Philippines or something like that
Right.
for like 5 seconds and then leaving. So I know my bounce rate isn't 0. So
yeah, I kind of am suspicious though that Google Analytics over time has started to weed out what they know is robots.
okay.
So if it is counting true new users, because you got to think about it, like Full Story can even identify when they're robots now.
That's true.
So I tend to think that Google Analytics is weeding out the robot stuff. So you know, if this is truly at 0%, that's great. That's great. I mean, 11% is even great, which I think your site prior, if I remember correctly, you had a pretty high bounce rate. It's been a little bit since we looked at it, but
Yeah.
regardless, this looks pretty good. I think the 16, almost 17 minutes is probably a little bit skewed. I mean, I could be wrong. Are you seeing anything on full?
I left it open and I went to go do something else or something like that. So
Yeah. Well, let's take a look in here real quick. Let's see if we got any insight of here. Cool. New York. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. We want something a little bit longer, if possible. Got these New York people popping in. Here's a Chicago. If you watch this one, let's check it out. I didn't see anything. What just happened?
I don't know. Sometimes this happens where it's just like there's not.
Yeah, that one's a little bit weird. Let's try a different one here. Minneapolis for 15 seconds. Let's check that one out. Found you on Yahoo. What page is that they're on?
About.
That you're about? Just say where they came from. How did they get in there? So they found your about page somewhere on Yahoo.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. That's that same Chicago one. Let's see what else we got if we go to some of the other ones. Milwaukee. Interesting.
I didn't know who it is.
I'm wondering, is this you possibly?
Could be. Probably checking my mobile app.
I think this is probably you, which is great because that looked like a crazy glitch. So I'd rather it be you and not an actual issue with your website. So I would prefer that.
When I was on my website, so I'm not sure what was going on there.
Yeah. Now here's a Salt Lake City one where they spent 23
My sister
minutes.
lives in Salt Lake City.
So that could be your sister.
I'm pretty sure it definitely was my sister.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about our mutual
Okay.
design endeavors lately.
Cool. I feel like that one may be you as well. Looked like I saw a Squarespace.
Yeah, that's it. Most of the things in here I can look at and go, yep, that was me. Yep, that was my husband, my sister.
Robots.
Guy from Yelp that won't stop calling me. So.
Yeah.
And robots,
What
definitely.
about West Bend?
That's Wisconsin. I have no clue what that is, to be honest.
Let's check that one out.
It's not far from here. I did see this one. And I don't know who that would be. So, and this is a page I kind of forgot I had that I haven't worked on in a long time. So
they're checking out photos and stuff. It does look like they were referred by Instagram.
Okay.
Something else that you can do to start getting some more, and again, this is sort of a tip for anybody. If you're still just needing to get some more data so it can work on things, one thing that's not a bad idea to do is to create a resource. If you don't already have one, something, it can be something simple, something that's good to do anyhow, like top 3 Milwaukee wedding venues sort of thing. And you can even share that resource inside of like a local wedding group for your city. So like if there's a Milwaukee wedding resource group, then that's a good place to go and be like, hey, created this guide based on my top, wedding venues. Now, the key here is you need to try to get people to go to your homepage then. So you want to try to sort of funnel them to your homepage from there. So including calls to action inside of that particular article, at least at the end. Now, these are really good for getting people to actually contact you, but for the purpose of just developing more interaction with your website, a lot of people will also go to your homepage once they found that article, if they found the article to be helpful. So that's one way to start feeding some more data, just to kind of be able to go, okay, we know how this is working or how it's not. Looks like this person, let's see where they went to. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, get a better picture of what they're doing. Definitely enjoying the photos here, it looks like. Just a tip on that, break up the photos with calls to action.
Oh, okay.
So that way, again, it's kind of that back to the portfolio. If they're seeing just photo, at a certain point, they've seen enough to actually take action on it. So I recommend like splitting it up where you have, like, anytime I have a gallery or something, the recommendation I give is call to action at the top, at least one in the middle, and then one at the very end. But if you have a lot of photos, either take off all but the best of the best photos from each scene of the day. Again, if it's more of like a throughout the day thing, or consider putting more calls to action that are pretty much the same call to action, like, hey, love what you're seeing. See if your date's available on my calendar.
Okay.
Cool. But let's keep, that's just a side note kind of thing.
Old blog posts actually, and I've started updating kind of how I format them. It's not perfect, but
well, they're definitely, they're looking at a lot of photos here. And I think they're pretty much going to look through this, and it looks like it just kind of, they hang out. So let's see if maybe there's one more we can see that would be a good one to look at. That's about the end of it. So it definitely, I'm kind of curious about these New York ones, because it's not picking it up as a robot, which is interesting to me. And I keep seeing that New York though. So that's like a super weird one, but
they're all about it. 1.5.
Yeah, a lot of 1, 4. There's a 13, unknown location. Now they look like they hit a memoirs page.
I renamed my journal, my blog.
Okay. Is that one a broken link?
Yes.
Okay.
That page doesn't exist anymore. That used to be the title for my blog, so I changed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It literally just doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
I mean,
okay.
It's just not under that name. So.
Yeah. Well, I think number one thing right now as I'm looking over stuff is I'd start building some of those hyper text links, like anchor text links, inside of your pages, pointing to that Milwaukee page specifically. And then submit those pages to be indexed. So for example, if you have like your blog, like let's say you have a blog post that leads back to your Milwaukee wedding photographer page, submit that to be indexed after you have added the anchor text backlink.
Okay.
Makes sense? That's just going to start helping Google be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we get it. Okay, this is the Milwaukee page. And it's going to help the page authority to increase on that specific page. And again, if you can get from other, like one of the easiest ways is that spearhead podcasting thing. Like if you can go into show notes and just put Milwaukee wedding photographer and it links to that specific page, that's the easiest, best, quickest, fastest way to start building up a bunch of random backlinks out there.
Perfect.
Cool. Awesome. Good job on stuff. It's looking like I've looked over your experience. I think it was your experience page a little bit. And I think we were going to review that, weren't we? Right? Was that one of the things? Let's look at that real quick. It looked awesome from the little bit that I was looking at it. So let's go back. Experience. Good job. This is like super dramatic. Like the photo here. Love it. The like mystique sort of feel. Storytelling. Getting into the really almost kind of like FAQs. Okay. Inquire about your date. One thing that I would do is it would be really nice if we had more data. However, we don't right now. I typically like to go ahead and this is one of those instances where they may at this point be ready to go ahead and inquire. Because this is like this is very like visual, like this may be enough to get them to go, oh, I want to reach out. So I might still go ahead and be like, basically that same inquire.
Yeah.
CTA up here.
Okay.
And then you could put maybe in parentheses or scroll to learn more about your experience.
All right, perfect. I can do that.
I think I'd still love to see a photo of you, like behind the scenes sort of thing, if you have any. Because again, the experience page is about the experience, but it's also not just the experience in terms of like what's their experience, but it's helping them to visualize themselves specifically working with you. So that photo does kind of give them that sense as they're looking down through here, they're imagining themselves with you as their photographer. So that might be the only thing that I recommend for now, but I kind of dig how you've got it very, very simplistic. If it were me, I might close up the white space just a smidge, just a smidge.
All right.
Like, and I don't know, it feels like this one is more white space though than like here, because here it's almost like I can
just dragging those spacers.
Yeah,
I don't really have like any real judge. So I'm like, does it fill a whole
it's
frame?
mostly just like this one feels a little bit bigger too to me. And these are minor things. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, but like then these, I would actually put a little bit more space between these boxes.
Oh, okay.
Not big. I just think maybe like instead of it being from here to here, I might do from here to like here, just to let it breathe a little bit.
Okay.
I think that I'm trying to figure out, because like I'm going, this is really like a part of how can I be sure that my experience will be in line with hopes from wedding. So this is almost like testimonials here. Another thing you might consider is this almost like wouldn't be a bad place to put like a scroll option.
Okay.
And like, what I'm saying, like where you can see the review, then the next one, then the next one. I think it'll make the sections feel more consistent, because this one's kind of like the odd one out, honestly, because like the other ones don't really have the multi-section thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so each one is like a question and then a one frame answer. And then this is a question and then a multi-frame. And a
Multi-frame. Yeah. Which, I mean, I think it'll look better if you put sections in between, but I think the fact that everything else is kind of like at most pretty much like one frame, I think it would be more novel, honestly, for it to be like, oh, you can click to see the other ones. And also that's interaction with the page for them to go from like one to one to
Yeah.
one, you know what I'm saying? Like flipping through the reviews.
Yeah.
So I think I would even do that versus having them spaced out a little bit more.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Other than that though, I dig what you're going for. It's kind of like I like that it's different. It's very like simplistic and dramatic.
Good.
So I dig it. I like the creativity side of it big time. So
Awesome.
cool
Thank
beans.
you for the input. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, cool. Let's see. Anything else for now? Or you feel all right for now, or did you have some more questions? Cool. All right. We're going to keep rolling. I have Lois next. I know Lois, you were asking a question inside of the comments, but let me see if I just want to double check, make sure your questions were different. I know you said focus on homepage optimization, supportive keywords, optimize wedding experience page, and mentioned de-optimizing it. The about me, make it about them above the about me. Did I write this area well? If it's all good, how's the rest of my site? Okay, cool. So we're kind of doing like an overall look over, it sounds like. Let me get your site.
Could I add actually something? So basically, since then I basically need help with my homepage the most now.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to look at SEO Quake and do what you said with the supportive keywords, but every time I like change words around, then my density goes down, that kind of thing. So I think instead of being so general, I just need help with the homepage first, and then I'll go from there next time.
That sounds good. So you've added some keywords in here, and then you were seeing that kind of mess with the density, right?
Yeah, and I don't know what the rules are because I didn't see you say that in the video to like not repeat too much, but I think you mentioned that to me on one of these masterminds.
Yeah, if we start seeing it, just because especially with Show It is typically the main culprit where they use more code, I've noticed, than others. And so what that ends up doing is it throws off the HTML to like content ratio. So long story short, at the end of the day, we don't want to start repeating too often because it can start looking spammy to Google. So yeah, so like seeing, you've kind of brought it down to like 4 repeats here. The density is still not terrible, so I like that. But mostly I want to see, okay, do we have like wedding photographer? You've got wedding photographer in San Antonio. It looks like wedding photographers, the plural. And maybe you did it without the N, but it looks like we don't have the plural. You do want to include the plural. And then same thing, the thing you're doing, wedding photography. Then switching it up, San Antonio wedding photographer. Now maybe you added the TX there, so we'll double check. Doesn't look like that. Yeah, so get like San Antonio wedding photographer, and that's like your where you do what you do, right?
Yeah, but every time I do like try to do something like you're saying, then these numbers go down, and then I feel like I'm doing it wrong.
Focus. Yeah, we can adjust that later. Focus first on making sure the supportives are in there, even above the density and prominence.
Okay, so somehow add in photographers, I do have photography though, right?
Well, before we do that real quick, so San Antonio wedding photographer, San Antonio wedding photography, San Antonio wedding photographers, which that's just the where you do what you do.
Yeah.
But in terms of, let's see, wedding photography, I don't see a wedding photography in there. So what you do, where you do.
Okay, so wedding photography. Okay.
So do that just to make it simple, because I can kind of help you from there. I would focus primarily on getting the supportives in. That's like the biggest thing that you like, biggest, best, massive next step, getting those supportive keywords in there.
Okay, do I have enough like text on this page?
Let's scroll down and see what you got.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah. Do you have any resources you've created, like guides or anything?
Yeah, if you keep going down, I have a couple, and I was messing with what to call those too, because I thought maybe, yeah, they're right there.
Okay, let me see what these look like real quick. Okay, cool. So this is like a little resource. Dig it.
Sure, Titus, I'm doing Not yet, okay. A little bit.
So I would use this as more of like an education resource. So it's like once we get past your mini about me, give them the resources that you've got. So like I would do right below this section, I would give them the resources.
Okay, before the reviews.
Yeah, I just think that reviews are like one of those things. Like it's cool, but like, I mean, anybody can put that on. It's just not really that unique. But you offering resources is much more of like, oh, whoa, they got resources, right? When I
Okay.
started doing this, I'd have all kinds of couples be like, oh yeah, I read all your blogs, and I pretty much used to, I planned my wedding because I read your advice.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't that I was using it to rank on Google. It's more so I was trying to create a good like perception of me as the authoritative guide.
Okay, I'm sorry. I missed a little part because my son kept talking. But were you saying they're more important than these badges? Did I miss
More
that?
important than the reviews for sure. I do like people seeing this because it's like a simple way to just build a baseline level of authority. So I'd probably leave the badges here and then put the resources right below that.
Okay.
And you want to have a clear heading that these are resources. Okay. So
Okay.
like, yeah, inspiration, wedding resource, however you want to say that, that'll enable you to actually like write a little bit. So you can say something to the extent of like the heading could be San Antonio wedding photography resources, something to that extent, including one of those keywords even. And then you can write a little bit, because I love making sure that my couples have the absolute best experience on their wedding day. Because that helps them have better photos. I've created these specific resource guides to help you do just that. So you've got some more text, and then you've got your resources. And then I recommend writing. You don't have to if it's not going to work for you, but to add some text, you can do like, okay, the wedding photographer experience, then give a short blurb.
Okay.
Like, okay, what is this page? Like help them understand what this particular article is about. Same thing with this investment page. Like, why should they read it? But don't write a big paragraph, just short paragraph or a sentence or two. Bam, now they know what it's about. And again, that's increasing the amount of text. And as of right now, like I said, I just want to get stuff on there, and then we can worry about density prominent stuff later. Right.
Okay, really quick, photography investment. If I say wedding photography, that's only 2 words though, right? So that doesn't count as 3 words.
Yeah, but don't stress too much about that.
So I could say the wedding photography, right? Because you were saying
you can say wedding photography, or you can make it longer if you wanted to, like how much to invest in your or you could even put San Antonio wedding photography investment.
Okay.
Or San Antonio wedding photography packages. Almost guarantee. Now, I don't know if I would say packages. I do tend to think that when people are searching that sort of phrase, like, let me show you real quick. San Antonio wedding photography packages. I don't know for San Antonio, but this is one of those that very regularly, something to this extent, I'll see traffic for. It's probably going to be people searching for here you go. So like wedding photography packages and prices. You don't see a whole lot of that in San Antonio. Types of wedding photography packages, wedding photography. I don't really want to rank too much for this type of stuff, but yeah, for you don't have a whole lot of searches. So like, I don't know that I'd really worry about what you're trying to rank for so much on that.
Okay.
I would maybe focus just more on make sure they know what this is going to help them achieve. Like what's the benefit in them clicking on this?
Okay.
So again, it's going to help them get an idea of how much they should be investing towards their wedding photographs. If you pose it as a question, it's probably more likely to drive curiosity. So like,
I did have it better, but then I messed with it because I was trying to find supportive keywords, but I had it like, how much should you invest in your wedding photographer?
Right.
Question.
I think that's fine. I think that's completely fine. So don't worry too much about keywording it. So, I mean, again, biggest steps for you are just getting your supportive keywords in there. I like how you did this. Story told here. I think you got rid of what you had there before. So I like this. I would say still use the character development here. So like this section here, being able to say like, instead of I want to capture your love story the way you've always imagined, this is not using character development. So the story here is meant to get them into the mode to be able to then allow you to introduce yourself into the story to use character development. So if you just introduce yourself, but then you don't do character development, it's kind of like in a way, like a bait and switch. Like, hey, you know, I got in your world, so then I could introduce myself, versus I got in your world, story told. Now let's story tell myself into that world.
Okay, so I have to now story tell about who I am, kind of.
There you go. Yeah. So it's like, here's the emotionally charged moment. Now introduce yourself, how you were in that moment. So if it was like, you know, in that moment, I knew that I was just destined to be a wedding photographer. In that moment, I never felt so satisfied in what I do, or whatever it was that you felt in that moment. Now you're materializing your mental model into the story that they've now visualized in their mind.
Okay, can I say that under the hi, I'm Lois? Does that kind of mess it up though?
Well,
And-
I think so. Here's how, if you're going to do it that way, because I don't think it's bad. You know, typically I just include like I would take this, they pinky promise their love forever, and just like make that the first thing that they see. Then you could make this smaller, you know, so it's just like less prominent, because it doesn't need to really be as prominent as it is right there. So I would make this smaller. And then I would just include this part in here. So it's they pinky promise their love forever, ... wedding photographer, San Antonio, Texas, real small. I probably wouldn't do the hi, I'm Lois here necessarily. We might be able to fit that somewhere. I dig how it's like, you know, this handwriting style, but I don't think it's essential.
Can I show you something real quick? Because I had another option, because I knew like I could. Do you mind if I share it real quick? Because I have it like that in a different.
Go. Let me see it.
Okay.
Cody says your work is beautiful. I think he was talking about you, Lois. I don't know.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm now all confused.
He might specify here in a second. We'll see. He said, yeah. He said you killed it.
Oh, thanks. Now I'm lost, so I'm trying to find Zoom.
Well, I don't know. I'm here though, so we're somewhere.
Okay. Are you here?
I'm here, but I don't know where
I didn't
we are on your
screen
screen.
share.
You are
Oh,
screen sharing. Yeah, you're screen
Oh.
sharing.
sorry, I'm like clicking all over the place. So let me now find my Chrome. Here we are, and then there's like boxes everywhere. It confuses me. Okay. Show it. Now on my site, I did another homepage because I knew I probably did it wrong. So this one I just did, like you said, in one spot.
Okay.
Like this, but it doesn't look as pretty. But is this what you're trying to tell me to do?
Yeah, it is. And you can still include like, unless you already have it in your H1 somewhere. So let me request remote control. So do you have this is an H1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you could totally do it this way. 100%.
I mean, doesn't it look kind of better, those two different sections?
I mean,
And it kind of breaks up the thought. So
like for me personally, I dig this. I mean, to me, this is just simple. I think that at the end of the day, like if you really like the idea of the other one, you could compare it in terms of performance. Like, okay, this one's getting more people to engage in the mini about me. I always opt for what's going to get the most conversions, and aesthetics. Sometimes doing the more complicated thing, even though maybe it looks a little bit better to us as artists, you end up getting less conversions. So that's where even though like, if it was from a mere how it looks standpoint, I 100% think, yeah, oh, I like the hi, I'm Lois, you know, handwriting and that stuff. But from a what I've learned perspective and what gets the best conversions, we've got to focus on drawing them in and developing that mental model. So that's where the difference lies. So, you know,
Right,
to
that obviously
me,
it's just inside of it, so it's not like breaking up the thought, the connection.
yeah. But going back to like, instead of just introducing yourself, you know, it's like in that moment, I felt X way. For
Mhm.
me, it all began when briefly tell like how you got into wedding photography, basically. So your backstory, because you've now infused your DNA into that storytelling, but now you're developing your character. So we have to infuse, we have to, you know, make our mental model into the story. Then we begin building that mental model by giving it a 4-dimensional shape, meaning not just, oh, they're here now in this story, but we also have duration. That's 4-dimensional, not just length, depth, width,
Mhm.
right? But now we have duration. So when you tell that backstory, you then lead up to and fast forward to today, and I'm photographing X type of couples, producing X type of photographs that give them X type of emotional benefit. So if you'd like to see how my approach is different than other San Antonio wedding photographers, click the button below to check out my experience page.
Do I scratch the last paragraph or should I just include that after I've done the character?
Well, I want to capture the story, you know, legacy you can pass on to your children, excitement. Like I would probably, if anything, maybe include that on the experience page. I don't think you really need to include it here. You know, I want to capture a love story to me sounds like sort of generic. I feel like every other photographer saying that. When you storytell, like the Pinky Promise, you know, their love forever, like that's showing them that you want to capture the love story the way that they've always imagined. So I don't think you need to tell them. Now, a legacy you can pass on to your children. I think that language is very much the language that is for specific types of people. So if your people are like legacy people,
Yeah, which
because
is
that's
what
legacy language, right?
Yeah.
Like some people will be turned off by that, believe it or not. You're more in the moment people, you're more excitement based people, even though you're saying, and you know, they too can feel the excitement, like, but it's the perspective of passing on legacy. And that is very much a different type of person from my experience than the person that is more, they want the excitement, they're living in the moment. It's a different type of person. So I think it's good to include that sort of language, but you just gotta, you know, like here initially,
Mhm.
you know, I think you could, like I said, take out the, I want to capture your love story. If anything, the legacy thing, I still think I would put that like more so on the experience page.
Okay. Okay, so the story part, the little story part is actually okay though.
Yeah, light breeze.
Right?
I don't know how to say that word. To slay.
Household.
To
Did I
slayed. Can I say it like that
household?
though? To slayed.
That sounds
French.
fancy.
You got some cool words. Through
That's all.
the hair, looked in the eyes, felt love that is endless, together surrounded by their close family. That I think you need to paint the picture of where they're at real quick. So
It's
it's
on
light
the
breeze.
beach. And my husband was like, that's not San Antonio. So I took beach out.
Yeah, but you can say more general words like ceremony, for
Okay.
instance. So like as the light breeze tousled through her hair, she looked into his eyes, looked into her groom's eyes, and felt a love that was endless. During this ceremony, surrounded by their close family, they held hands and gazed into each other's eyes. Which, you know, it's kind of the gaze into his, I wouldn't actually say that again, the gaze in each other's eyes. It's a little bit generic sounding, and we've already established that they're looking into each other's eyes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You know, so together, surrounded, like during this ceremony, surrounded by their close family, they held hands as they said their vows. That might, again, that's like, now you're developing a picture of the ceremony very strongly.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's starting to make more sense now.
Yeah. I like this. Pinky promised their vows. Everyone chuckled, but this was exactly the way she wanted to be captured. everyone chuckled, and she had then the satisfaction of everything being exactly as she wanted settled in her soul. See how
Oh.
now we're using like language of emotion, how she felt. Everyone chuckled, and then the but makes it sound like maybe there was a negative chuckle, but it was how she wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And then we're saying captured, which again, captured is a little bit generic. So if you
Yeah.
do the emotional language of like how she felt, like with visual words, not saying that's how she wanted to be felt, but here's how she's feeling because of that.
Hmm.
That's going to be a much happier, fuzzy, warm, draw me in picture than
Okay.
the alternative. So then in that moment, I never felt so satisfied in what I do. For me, it
Mhm.
all began when brief backstory, moving
Okay.
into the, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll have to figure out what that is.
Yeah. Well, and don't overthink your backstory, right? Like your backstory is your backstory. It's not about it being super fantastical. It can be super simple. Just tell it,
Hmm.
because it's really, it's not about being super fantastical. It's just about being unique. I don't know if you guys know this, but like, so like Superman at one point, like Superman was popular, obviously, but there's a lot of critics that they begin to point out like Superman was so perfect. So then you started seeing this trend of like superheroes having a lot of flaws. So for instance, I want to say it was Thor Ragnarok. And this is not a perfect timeline. If we have any like superhero aficionados in here, bear with me. Thor Ragnarok, like you saw, I think you started to see more of like the human side of Thor. Okay, if anybody's followed those movies, and then in like Endgame, you saw him like he got really heavy and had a drinking problem. They do this because it's character development. So they're trying to make this see like when there's like legitimate flaws to your character, even
Hmm.
it doesn't look like you're just trying to be over the top. So it's like that's actually more relatable than if you have this like amazing, story. So
Okay.
don't
What
ever
if,
feel like it's too basic.
like my wedding photographer, there were like things that I didn't like, but you wouldn't talk about that, right? Anywhere on your site. Like now I focused on this because this didn't happen at my wedding. Like we didn't get couple portraits really, and he
Yeah.
took a year to give us our photos and some crazy.
Yeah, I think it's okay to maybe mention that on the experience page. I wouldn't name names and I wouldn't sound bitter,
Yeah, yeah.
but anytime that you start mentioning things like that, it's kind of like it's so, even though you're trying to put it in a positive light,
Mhm,
it's like it can bring in that negative emotion surrounding it. So
mhm.
it's kind of like why I don't recommend using like words in your text that sound like they could be negative, even though
Okay.
you're trying to be positive. It's like instead of using words that have a negative connotation, like
Mhm.
like if you had a story about, it was a frigid day, and but then it's like you tell this beautiful story, I'd be like, just leave frigid out. Like nobody likes that like word,
Mm,
just leave it out. Like it just makes you feel uncomfortable just saying it.
mhm.
So that's where I think you have to use wisdom with it, because if you start creating those negative emotions, then you've already sabotaged yourself. So I tend
Mm.
to say just focus on the positives. Now your about me page is probably a little bit different because at that point people are already so bought in. And I think that's where you can talk more about like, on my wedding day, I had this, this, and this happen. And so I really value this, this, and this because of that.
Mhm.
So that type of stuff honestly would be a lot safer for your about me page, because it's actually going to reward people for going deeper with you because they're getting more like self-revelation on your about me page.
Okay.
So that's probably what I would do. I would save that kind of stuff for your about me page.
Okay, that sounds good.
Cool. But big takeaways here is, of course, the mini about me stuff, but the supportive keywords, and those are really the two big things. Don't get too concerned about the density stuff, the prominent stuff, because we need to get those supportive keywords up. And then of course we talked about like the resources being up higher. So I think that's probably good enough to work on for now. So stick to that. And I look forward to seeing you and your updates in the next mastermind session. But all in all, like it's looking really good. It's looking
Okay.
very good. So good
Thank-
job. Good job. I know you're working hard. Thank you for being here. All right, we're gonna keep rolling. We gotta, let's see. Got Lois. No, Kenzie's not here. Let's see. I've got Andrea. Andrea, are you here?
Yep.
Cool beans.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey. How are you?
Oh, we're about to head on a camping trip with our church youth group. So
Fun. To
Hey,
where?
we're going to Wyoming.
What's in Wyoming?
Sorry, hold on. There's a like a church history site. Our
Okay.
church. So we're gonna go there, and we're gonna do a lot of hiking, and I get to be the camp photographer. So I'm going to
Nice.
connect with our church youth group so I can go to work.
Wonderful. All right. Let's see. So this is, I'm trying to figure out if this did this last time. Let me type in your website, because something I noticed is if I go to AndreaJolene.com. Did this happen last time? If you type that in, it goes to the non-secure version.
You mentioned that my website was redirecting you.
That was when we were looking in Moz though, I think. So
Yeah.
let me try something here, because it is directing me to a non-secure version, which is really weird.
That's very
Even when I go to, yeah, the only way that actually directs to HTTPS version is if I type that in. So who's your hosting with, your domain host?
Google.
I've always got curiosities whenever we look at your site, it seems like. Let me see.
Yeah.
But it's like shelled out to GoDaddy.
Nope.
Bring up your, can you bring up your like your Google domains?
Yeah. Let's see. Not this one, my domains. Okay. Share screen. This. Share. I'm also uploading things into my galleries.
Cool.
There you go.
Okay, so it's this one,
Yep. I just bought the other one so no one else could.
right? Works for me.
Yep.
Works for me. Yeah, it looks like you actually have this inside of Google Domains. To me, that's what it looks like. Let's double check, because usually they'll see for sure.
I've never been to GoDaddy ever, so.
Well, I've seen where people think they've bought it through Google Domains, but it actually is through GoDaddy.
Okay.
Kind of weird.
That is weird. Fortunately, my domain was easy to obtain
That's good.
because no one spells their name like me on the whole planet.
You're lucky. I'm still waiting for whoever currently has jeffarmstrong.com for it to expire. Okay. So I'm a little bit curious, because I don't normally see this. I'm a little bit curious why they aren't automatically sending you to the secure version. So
I have
let's
done
look.
it wrong and show it, like attached it wrong.
No, usually it's your domain provider that will handle that. So
Okay.
what I want to check real quick is I want to see which ones Google is kind of like, yeah, you should rank for this one. Like which site it is particularly. Hey, your impressions are going up. That's cool. Looky there. Up to spot
This is
17.
not the one. Oh, you're in a specific keyword. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, this is not all the impressions. What is, I don't know what's happening.
No. But you've recently went up for this. Pages, this is good. See how it's got your HTTPS. We're in HTTPS. Let me double check what happens if we go to say, let's do this one. This is not verified. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, just because we've already got the Google domains open. DNS. Oh, okay. Manage custom. I think that's where we got to be. This is the fun stuff.
It's getting to the point where all of these problems are something that I'm like, this is so ridiculous. It's funny.
Yeah. And I don't think any of them are going to be ultimately like fatal for you.
No,
And
but
the fact that we're seeing, it's just weird though. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Let's do 10 minutes. See here. Save. Yeah, okay, whatever. Some domain providers like force you to put in something there like that. So let's see. Like I told someone earlier when we were doing this, it sometimes does take a little bit for it to actually update. So this may be
Okay.
something that you check on here in a couple hours, but never mind. For you, it's also, this is nice. That's like the first time it's for you. I feel like it was going to give me red, you know, I'm just saying
Yeah,
based off our history here. No, that's good. So, all right. So let's see.
59 clicks?
What?
Why does it have 59 clicks?
Just because this is it's a different version. So like if we go in here, you know, it's
So
So,
in
like-
reality, we have like 110 clicks.
no, it's
Oh.
just one of them is missing out on something.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see more than likely more data inside of here. Look at that. Photographers in Utah.
Okay.
The new one too, I think. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
it's new that high up for sure. There's like 200 words there now.
Yeah, which is a lot more than 3.
Well, I've been super annoyed that it's not working, so I've started blogging.
Well, some of your blog stuff here, it looks like it's showing up, but
Yeah.
the,
a lot of it is
what
blogs.
we looked at last time with you is like you're showing up for that photography, but then we were like, why aren't you showing up for the other
My
Utah
spearhead.
stuff? So it's like that was the main thing that I was really kind of curious about here.
It's not there. At least it wasn't there as of like 2 hours ago.
Yeah. You never know. Let's see. Logan, Utah wedding photographer.
Yeah, Logan is not where I really want to rank for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a town in Utah, but
Did you do something for it?
I made a wedding venue guide. I was just going through all the towns in Utah that have like any population at all and making wedding venue guides for each of them. So
Mhm. Okay. Oh, I don't want to do exact.
I did all the things that we talked about last week though, like
Cool.
before the call was over. Like I made a page with all the backlinks and had it inspected or site mapped. I don't remember. I submitted it to
Yep.
the index. That's what it is.
Good.
And then added all the like extra keywords and lowered my spearhead keyword.
Good.
So
Did you see any new links pop up? I noticed you had that open whenever we were in here.
none.
Yep. That's not too weird. Sometimes it can take a little bit for those guys to start popping up.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I
Yeah,
did want to ask a question because I think I didn't write anything, but before I make duplicate homepages, I should get the one to rank, right?
well, you should get it. You should let me check it out to make sure it's not going to have issues with ranking. And
Okay.
I've looked at your page. You've done a good job on that homepage. So if you want to start
Okay.
duplicating, I'm totally cool with that.
I just didn't
I'm
want to
just-
have to do a whole bunch of chores afterwards.
Yeah,
trying to
no.
fix
I
it.
mean, from what I've seen, I think it looks solid. Which this is cool. This is cool that like as of what is that, the 14th ish? It's like ramped up majorly.
Oh, yeah. Of June.
Um,
Yeah.
did
Or
you have
July.
you built any internal links to your homepage?
What do you mean?
So like even like if you have a blog post that like
Linking
at
back to my homepage?
yeah, with anchor text. So like putting in wedding photographer in Utah, and then when you click the wedding photographer in Utah, it goes to that homepage.
I don't think so.
Okay. I think we did that on some of the podcast notes, right? Did you do
Yes.
that?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay.
It's in all my podcast notes with the anchor text. I fixed
Is
all
it
of
different
those.
variations?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Google's going to have to find that stuff though. If it hasn't found that stuff yet, that's a waiting game. Which you
Okay.
can do in the meantime. That's going to have probably not quite as an impact, but still an impact. And it's good because you can get them to crawl your site directly. Is from like different blog posts or a different page linking to your Utah wedding photographer page.
Okay.
And again, if you're trying to learn more about Utah wedding photographers or something like that, that text is the anchor text that when they click it, it goes to that particular page. I would go ahead and do that because we basically need to force Google to understand that this page has variations that it should be ranking for. It's
Right.
super. Again, I don't think it's an end of the world scenario, but like we've got to push Google to understand that you should be ranking for other things besides Utah wedding photography and wedding photography in Utah. Now, that I am glad to see both of those showing up now because I don't even think we saw both of those last time. However, we really got to get Google to understand that we need to be showing up for wedding photographer Utah. So building some of those the links from the other pages is good. That's probably going to be quicker for Google to find than even the like podcast show notes. So I would do that. And again, don't think you need to do like 20 million of these. Just do like I'd do at least 4.
Okay.
And it can be like variations. So wedding photographer in Utah wedding photographer, etc. Stuff like that. I wouldn't use wedding photography in Utah.
Because it's the one we're already ranking for.
We're already ranking for it. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm digging that we're starting to see some of these other ones kind of blip up. Photographer in Utah, for instance.
So
it's nice.
The abbreviated ones are even starting to pop up a little on SEO Edge.
Okay.
So, but
like UT.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, all that's good signs. We're still moving in the right direction. It's still just, to me, I'm a little frustrated that Google hasn't picked up that you're a Utah wedding photographer.
Right.
Seeing as that is like literally our target keyword here.
Yeah.
So, but this isn't the first time we've seen something weird with your site. So hang on. Just get those not supportive, get the keywords in the like internal linking stuff. I would do that. Submit those specific pages to be indexed.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm gonna head out of service here for like 5 days, which might be really healthy for me.
Yeah.
Yep. When I come back, we're hitting my 90-day mark.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do like a deep whatever?
I would say let's see what happens when you get back here. You know, if
Okay.
you're going to be out for 5 days, once we've hit that 90-day mark, which, hey, to be honest with you, anything can happen in 5 days. If
Right.
Google starts to
lot of
find
things.
these links and finds the internal links, that can change things pretty quick. I'm happy seeing, like I said, you're like getting high second page for that one keyword, which does
Yeah.
have good impressions. I mean, it's getting you some clicks and impressions. But yeah, I would say let's wait till you actually hit that. Then we would do like a one-to-one deep diagnosis.
Okay, hit what?
The 90-day
Sorry.
mark, the actual 90 days from catalyst session.
It's
Where is it?
tomorrow. Jeff.
Tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is my 90 days.
Yeah, well, yeah, get through, message me when you get back.
Okay. It's like I
Yeah,
don't have
that's-
time to do it before I leave, but
Yeah, that's okay. Well, enjoy your time, you know, enjoy your hiking, and
try
if you
not to
stay-
think about SEO for
I'm gonna
like 5
say, and
days.
survive, you know, survive your I don't know, you might be able to survive pretty well out in the wild. I don't know how much you've done hiking, so
I grew up in Alaska, so I think I'll be fine.
that, yeah, that works.
But I'm more worried about we've looked at the like heat map for where we're going, and it's like, it looks like the whole earth is on fire when you look at that area.
Nice.
So it's gonna be like 110 degrees. So
Lovely.
yeah.
All right, well, stay alive,
do my
please. Drink
best.
your water, drink your electrolytes.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Well, I'll let you get going. I know we got to get to, I think Jeff had to leave, so we don't have Jeff, but we've got, let me see, we got Casey, right? Casey, I know you said you had to go not too long. Why don't we go ahead and jump on here? Are you here?
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So ranking for second and third locations. What was your first location? First location?
We were just doing California elopement photographer.
You seen that moving up in rankings?
Yeah, it's in the 30s now.
Nice.
Google finally recognized one of my backlinks, which put me in the 30s, and
Nice.
it hasn't found any of the other ones, but they exist, so it will eventually. And that was
Yes.
really
Yeah. Well, in doing, I don't know if you heard us talking about it, but doing the, oh, what do you call it? The multi-tiered linking, where you create even like a featured on page. So it's like, it doesn't have to be visible, but it links out to the areas where you do have backlinks, and then you submit that to be indexed. That can help speed up the process of getting those backlinks discovered. So
Oh, okay. No, I have not done that. I could do that.
yeah, give that a try. That'll help them get found faster. But that's awesome that you got some third page rankings now, and love it, because like you're in some cool markets and like fairly new website and all that good stuff. So good job. That's great.
Thanks.
What was the second location? Big Sur?
Big Sur, and then Yosemite, and I basically just copied my original homepage from the California one, and then
Okay.
I changed the keywords. I also changed the photos, and I reworded it a little bit so it wouldn't be like
Yeah,
completely the
that's
same, but
good.
pretty much the same though. But
Okay.
I'm not ranking at all for either of those.
Did you submit these to be indexed?
Yeah, I did. There was like a day or two where my Big Sur page was ranking, but then it disappeared again. So I don't know what happened because I didn't touch it. So
Yeah.
I'm fine. But,
It happens. How old is the page though? How old has it been?
I don't know.
How long has it been up? Ballpark, like 3 days or like
No,
30
like
days?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Have you put alt text on some of the images?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can check that real quick, but
And what's your spearhead on that Big Sur page?
it's Big Sur elopements. I was gonna do elopement photographer, but then it was like way lower searches and a way harder whatever the other word is.
Yeah, well, so on this Big Sur elopements page, like I would probably have Big Sur elopements. Let me see what's ranking for that so far.
Okay.
A good practice for keywords that may not be a direct match is to go type them in on Google. So Big Sur elopements, and I'll screen share and show you this, because that gives us an idea of like what Google's already serving up, which helps us to understand what would be good for us to actually make that particular page about.
Okay.
So right now we've got an elopement guide, another elopement guide, another elopement guide, or that's packages. I bet you it's like full service stuff, elopement packages, elopement guide. So I think what I would do if I were you and you're going to rank for this particular keyword is I would make it more of like an elopement guide.
Okay.
And now you can kind of give it your own DNA and spin it to where, like, you know, if you're going to help them with some stuff, which I know that's kind of the trend in elopements, is like you're kind of sort of being their planner to a degree, right? I would make it like a guide slash even talk about the packages and stuff. Like you see here, Brian or Brianna Park's photo, probably including, by the looks of it, packages, venues, etc. So it's like, you know, it's like a guide, but it's also talking about like the options, like giving them options for actually having their elopement there. Because I think a lot of people that are doing elopements are kind of looking for that full service approach.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm
go
in the
ahead.
process of making a guide for Big Sur. But I was gonna have it separate, like linked on that page. Should I just make it the page, or?
Yeah, I would I would still try to rank for Big Sur elopement photographer,
Okay.
because even though it's less volume, it's going to be hard to rank a Big Sur elopement photographer page for like this, because it's favoring elopement guides when people type Big Sur elopement.
Right.
So like you really want to be ranking two separate pages for, you know, you want to be ranking Big Sur elopement photographer, and then you also want to be ranking a separate page, your guide page for the Big Sur elopement.
Okay.
And feel free to use other people as, you know, sort of inspiration. And by inspiration, I mean positive and negative. Again, this is a lesson for everybody. Like, especially if you're trying to write something that maybe it's a particular guide or something, like, or maybe it's a keyword you just don't know if it's a good keyword to even target. Go do the Google search and see what Google's already serving up, because Google's intentional about what it's showing here, because it's saying, well, we found that people that search Big Sur elopements, they're typically looking for, and then these things. So it's Google's telling you what it wants to show people because of what seems to get the best results. So use those as inspiration, both positive and negative. Because, like, you know, I immediately look at this and I'm like, this doesn't look nearly as like the style you have, in my opinion. I think looks a lot more captivating. You know, you can kind of read through these guides and be like, well, what did they do good? What did they do bad? How could I do it better? / throw my own DNA into it.
Okay. Makes sense.
Cool. But I think that this particular page, it kind of looks like, I think Google may be having a hard time understanding if it should be ranking for photographer or Big Sur elopement, because those are, go ahead.
No, that makes sense. Sorry, I was just agreeing.
Now, I just think the way Google's doing it, it's like it's kind of two different searches. So you're trying to split the difference here a little bit, and it's going to impact the ability for this to rank. So let this rank still, you know, aim for that Big Sur elopement photographer, and then have the guide rank more so for the Big Sur elopements. Same for Big Sur. I bet you there's good traffic for Big Sur elopement packages, for example, or elopement packages Big Sur. So just have those separate pages. And if your other page, like the Yosemite page, is kind of like that, I would, same information applies towards that.
Okay, at Yosemite, I did the spearhead as Yosemite elopement photographer.
Okay.
But I haven't done the guide for that one yet.
Okay. Is it ranking at all yet? Or is it like super new?
That the Yosemite one is newer. I just made it maybe a week and a half ago.
Okay.
But it's not ranking at all yet.
Do you have any internal links that you've built to it? So
not actually.
So like, see these down here. Do you have a California elopement photographer page?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the main page.
That's the main one. Link this to that page.
Okay.
And same here, elopement photographer, California. I would make these link to those pages.
Okay.
Same thing for like Big Sur, Yosemite, because that's building the internal linking,
Okay, that makes
right?
sense.
So the more that you build those internal and external links, it's going to be good for you. That's also going to help those pages kind of get build up page authority and stuff. So that would I think that's your biggest opportunity in terms of the Yosemite page. Is it like Yosemite elopement photographer, or what's the URL?
I think it's Yosemite-elopements with an S.
Okay. And I would personally make that, if the spearhead is Yosemite elopement photographer, I would do it like Yosemite elopement, with the hyphens photographer. Google
Okay.
does like seeing it that specific. Cool. Pretty much set up just like the other one, which is great. Got all the Yosemite stuff there. Diagnosis, just to check it out. Good. H1's there. If you can include Yosemite based alt text, if you haven't done that yet, I would do that. Have you built up any Pinterest pins that direct to this, like these pages?
Not for these 2 pages.
That's another thing I'd put on the list.
Okay.
Build up some pins to them, because that's going to get you some backlinks as well. And you could do it, the boards matter. So like you can even make up, some Yosemite or Big Sur boards, like elopement boards.
Okay.
And by the way, people can even find you that way, but that's a whole nother story. We're just focusing on mostly the SEO side of things.
Yeah.
So Yosemite elopement. Cool. I would do like elopement photographer in Yosemite, elopement photographers and elopement photography in Yosemite. So that what you do, where you're doing it, would be the other thing. Same thing for Big Sur or any other, things you're trying to rank, get those supportive keywords in there. But that would be my last tip for you for now, because that's like a lot. Supportive keywords, and then that other stuff that I mentioned, like Pinterest pins and whatnot. I'd focus on those things. And it's awesome that you're doing the 3rd page rankings. I would even keep building up links for that stuff, because it's all going to pay off as Google's finding those.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure seeing you. And I'm so excited for you to be ranking for those things here in the near future. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome. No problemo. All right. Let me keep on rolling here. Jeff had to leave. Let's see here. I know that, let's see. So Ariel, this is a pretty quick question. So I was going to let you know, new Google Analytics. Here's what we're probably going to roll out. Keep in mind, they have moved the date like what, 3 or 4 times.
Mhm.
And it, at first it was like a month out, then it was like a year out kind of thing. So everybody thinks GA4 is garbage. So either they're going to fix it and we'll happily move, or I think sort of like I've seen with other companies, like Facebook had an issue where they were doing the same sort of deal with their ads, and they just never do the thing that they're saying they're going to force everybody to do. So I've called their bluff 2 or 3 times, and I've been right every time. And so that's why I'm not doing a big push, because I don't want y'all to have to do more stuff. I want you to be able to do less stuff. That being said, it's not a bad idea, in my opinion, if you want to go ahead and put the GA4 code on your site. So create if you don't have one already, create a GA4, put the code on your site. That way, if nothing else, at least you've got data in there. But it's not a make or break issue.
Okay.
Makes sense. And then I know you were asking about the inquiry to booking mastery stuff. I'll shoot you a message here in a little bit and we can chat on that. But yeah, I wouldn't sweat too much about GA4 yet. Long story short. Makes sense?
All right. Yep.
Cool beans. And then I think we've just got Cody left.
Well,
Poor Cody.
sorry, did I put in there that I wanted to go through my site a little bit and see if there was anything in there that I could improve
No,
on?
you didn't say that, but
I thought I did. Can we? Like,
we can take a quick look. Yeah. Now, no, only thing I had was Google Analytics. And did anything on my site jump out at you? Oh, yeah. And my answer was no to that. That's probably why I skipped over. So you did. It was in really tiny text though. I could barely see it. It was weird. Did you do some special formatting on there?
no.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. But yeah, I mean, the only things I might mention is, same stuff that we've kind of mentioned on the mini about me, like doing more storytelling versus the and yours is like fairly unique compared to some of the more generic ones that I see. But I would still look at, storytelling, ideal client experience. Let's see. You're sending people. I would put a button that sends people to the experience page. I know you have it in the text, but I would have a button, and I would remove the more about me personally, because you don't want to have more than one call to action, more than one call to action in any given frame.
So sorry, where are you looking at?
On your experience, like, or your mini about me. So like here,
okay.
just send them to the experience page. I would do a button because it's more visually like, oh, I should do something, and then just not worrying about this.
So you said get rid of the more about me and send them to experience?
For sure.
Okay.
Yep. And I would have a button for it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just simplifying, right? Like that's really all it comes down to, because it's all about, eventually they're going to get to this. And like, I think the biggest thing I'm noticing is we just have a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Your photo's kind of small. So I would almost, like, to me, if it were me, and if you're getting people reading this and it's already getting good response, like you see that on full story, don't change a thing. But to me, from what I've seen, I would say simplify, simplify, simplify. Get the picture of you bigger. Don't worry about all this. Just story tell, then lead into the experience page and get them there. We actually have some new videos up on the experience page. If you haven't seen that yet,
No,
I would go check that out. Same thing on Mini About Me. I have some new videos up about Mini About Me as well that may help you out. Just, at least nothing else, like to serve as a little bit of a reference for you.
I did change my hero image. I know we talked about that, and it took me a long time to find one that I liked, but I shot a wedding not too long ago, and I took that photo for that purpose. So
this one,
yeah,
did it horizontal, what landscape and all, yeah, it's a good tip for the hero. It's like if you're always taking vertical, it's like, or portrait orientation,
right? Yeah, with plenty of sky, lots of mountains.
So that's why I like shooting with a medium format camera, because like even your horizontals or your vertical portrait, orientation, a lot of times you still have more, feel like you have more space on the edges. Whereas with like a 35mm / full frame, it's like you always have this like super skinny crop that's like useless for hero images. So resources for brides, I would move that up, because again, that's establishing yourself as unique and authoritative. So I would be moving that up below your mini about me, even below, like before people get to this stuff.
Okay. So,
so the biggest thing I would focus on right now is getting people to your experience page by simplifying here, and then quickly establishing that authority by asserting your resources right below that. And of course, if you've got badges and stuff, again, that's always fine to use there. You've got them, but they're far down.
I do. Yeah, they're real far.
They're real far down. So like, get that stuff up here. Get it up here. I'd put it like right above, and you can experiment. I'm not necessarily sold on above the resources or below them, but I like them being right together.
Okay.
Either, and typically my intuition leads me to say above and then the resources, because I kind of like go, well, you're showing that you've been published. Now you're showing them the resources. So I dig that. And I'm not even opposed to you also including that on the experience page, because if they're so into your mini about me and they go to the experience page, you kind of want to serve them the authority stuff too on the experience page. So I like having the authority stuff right below your mini about me and on the experience page.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. I would stop there though, because that's enough for you to do and be able to analyze how it's, basically motivating people to move around. So I don't think I would change anything else other than those things right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool beans.
Yeah, I've still been seeing some movement, which is good. I'm up to number 3. So
Is that not insane? You're
it's
in
crazy.
you're in this like crazy tough market. How old's your website?
Oh God. A year and a half maybe, but I started with you and I started ranking in March.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just super impressed with how well your website is ranked in that tough market. You're on Show It, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So all, hope to all Show It users, you can rank on Google.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I think Show It generally does a great job, but I mean, you've done a great job at getting stuff in order and making sure that like you've experimented, like taken the hero image specifically for that purpose. Like you're thinking in terms of my website. And I'm super proud that you're up to number 3.
Yeah.
I was happy.
I have to take out the knot and wedding wire.
Yeah. Yep. That's the big kicker now, right?
So how do you do that?
Yeah. So what you do is nail the user experience, keeping people on your site long. Podcasting stuff helps with that. Okay. Cause they're going to listen to that podcast. Look at you grit your teeth as soon as I say that. I'm used to it, but that's a big differentiator, right? So you got to think of it in terms of your ideal clients versus like, oh no, I hate podcasting, or hey, don't worry about it. It's all about just developing that mental model of yourself in their mind. And podcasting is fantastic with that. And backlinks. Honestly, that's the big differentiators for you, is going to be the good, solid anchor text, which by the way, podcasting helps with. So, and Cody can speak to that, right? Cody and I were chatting backlinks earlier. So that's going to be a differentiator for you to get up higher above the knot and wedding wire. Yeah, Cody was saying he made one just for backlinks. Yeah, he's watch him. He'll become a famous podcaster. He's going to be all stubborn about it, and then he's going to become a famous podcaster. So, that's going to be good. Building good anchor text backlinks. Do the internal linking, like I was talking with a couple other people about. Internal backlinks are very, very helpful, using various supportive keywords to link back to your homepage. Okay. But yeah, I'm rooting for you. I want to see you beating out the knot. I want to see you number 1 to Los Angeles. Okay. And I was just super happy whenever you beat out Lynn and Jerza. So
oh gosh.
I was just excited because they have like a super high domain authority. They've been around forever. So when I saw you knock them off the first page, I was like, one of them on that team is actually inside our group. Not Dream Clients. He joined the EasySEO with Jeff, the wedding photographer group, like 2 or 3 years ago. So I always thought they're going to reach out to me, and they never did. Well, so now here you are, knocking them off the first page.
That's right.
Love it. All right, let's keep rolling, because I got a live stream this evening. So, and then I got a kind of an announcement that I'm going to be making here later. So we got to keep rolling. But I'll follow up with you. And if you would just do me a favor, because I've got like 5 other things I have to do as soon as I jump off, just shoot me a message and just say, just put ITBM. Okay. And I'll follow up with you about the inquiry to booking mastery stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool beans.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Good to see you, Ariel. Okay. I think that we've gotten to everybody that's here. I'm going to double check. I know we've got Cody. I think Cody, you brought this upon yourself. So now it's officially your turn. So come on down. The price is right.
Yay, works for me.
What's up, Cody? Always good to chat with you here. So let me pull up your particular question. Have you seen any movement on Knoxville?
The venue pages are going up a little bit, but not the photographer one yet.
Okay. Did you submit that one to be indexed?
Oh gosh, yeah. I did that the the night that I made the page.
Okay. So let me screen share. Let's take a look at some things, because I know you're saying your question was more so based around what? Looking at the was it the experience page?
The home end experience, mainly to make sure that I'm like telling a story from my homepage that's gonna tell what my brand is and make people interested.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So by the way, super happy to see that you posted that picture up there. Tom I don't know if you remember Tom, but Tom said it, this looks like him. So he thought it was a good picture too. He thought you had good taste. This looks great though. I think this looks so much better than, you know, just going straight to you. So I like that. Let's see. I'd typically recommend not putting home up here just because everybody knows you click the logo and it goes to your homepage. I would put the experience to the far left before about me.
Okay.
Other than that, you know, you can pretty much leave this stuff how it is. I would storytell again about your ideal couple. So tell a story about some experience that one of your ideal clients has had. So it's sort of the same. And we have a video on this and it's new. Okay. Cause usually I just have kind of like mostly counseled people directly in mastermind sessions. But if you haven't watched the video on the mini about me yet, go watch that.
I actually did. And the example was a lady talking about how like her grandma was showing her albums. So I was like, she's talking about her experience with her grandma. So I was kind of.
Yeah. So that hers was a little bit of a unique situation, right? Now she's still storytelling, and she's storytelling based on values. So it's still, even though it's actually a story about her, it's still focusing on the values. So as she story tells, really the story is more about like her grandma, because Alyssa's in that video, her main clients are all like her most ideal clients are all very legacy minded. That's why she chose to actually tell that story specifically, because they like that language of legacy and, you know, when I'm old and gray and my kids and that sort of stuff. Now for you specifically, you could do that. Like if that, I'm not saying don't do that, but I would say, okay, what's a story? Usually it's a story that your ideal client has experienced something on their wedding day that your other potential ideal clients are going to read and resonate with. So that can be as simple as, you know, when Johnny walked down the aisle, you know, or whatever, somebody's crying, first look with the groom, something. You see what I'm saying? Like it's some story that your ideal clients are going to look at and go, oh, okay, yeah, I like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just have no idea what to do.
How many weddings have you shot so far?
Probably 15, 16.
Okay. Is there any moment that you've captured that was meaningful?
Yeah, there's a couple. I just I guess I just literally don't know. Like, I look at reviews and I see, you know, what it is about my photography that people like. So I'm trying to make a story or something based around that. Like to me, if I just put, you know, a story, like for instance, one of my bride's dad died. So I captured a picture of them crying together. So, I mean, I feel like if I just put that there, it's like, it doesn't do nothing. It's just like, oh, that's a, you know, a sad story. It's cute. It's great, but it doesn't like portray what it is my brand does, which is, you know, make couples relaxed, comfortable, and, you know, just laid back during the wedding.
That's for your experience page.
Okay.
Because right now, the first and most important thing that we have to do, Cody, is to get people to see that you can cast a vision for the identity that they're trying to achieve. So you're trying to make your homepage all about you. That's not what we want to do. Do you see how, like right now, it's all about, well, I want to try to communicate certain things about my brand. That's not in their world. So you're trying to broadcast yourself. What we should be broadcasting is a vision of who they can become with you as the visionary leader. Do you see the difference between those two?
I kind of feel like maybe we're saying two different things. Like I'm trying to show that like they can be comfortable in the camera. Not that I'm like this person that makes people comfortable, but that like here's something saying that you also can feel comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And I feel like a picture crying would just be like, oh, I guess I can cry.
Yeah. Yep. But here's what I'm saying. The experience page should be more about creating that sense that they can be comfortable with you. Start with identity. So you tell a story that resonates, that's an identity-based story of something that they want to experience, because in that moment, it tells them things about themselves. So if they're doing their first dance with their dad and he's, crying, or, it's the speech and the dad's telling this funny story, whatever it may be, that helps to paint a picture of an identity that they can achieve on their wedding day, you're giving them that window to step through to where you can now introduce yourself, to develop a picture of yourself in their mind. Then the experience page is all about showing them that you can help them to feel relaxed and comfortable specifically with you. And because I hear what you're saying, but save that for the experience page. First, we need to get them with identity, because people make decisions largely based on elevating their status. So even how they feel, generally speaking, is not even why people will work with a particular photographer. Now, that's got to be important to them, but it's the photographer that can show them the identity that they want to achieve, and then help them feel like they're going to get closer to that identity that actually makes them feel relaxed. So instead of showing them that you can make them feel relaxed, we're actually just making them feel relaxed by painting this picture of who they can be by working with you. So that's like, you tell the story of, one of your couples, Tina and Jerry, right? And how their first look went. That story, you and I may look at it and be like, well, we photographed a bunch of first looks and it's no big deal. But to someone that is anticipating their wedding, like, those moments are incredibly important. They're looking forward to those types of moments. So when we tell a story about it, they get excitement, and it's different also because nobody else is doing this really in your market. And each story is going to be different. It's going to be infused with your own values and identity and DNA. So you tell that story, then we introduce you to start developing the picture, then get them to the experience page. Then we're helping them to feel like, okay, because then now we got the space to storytell about how we've made someone else feel relaxed in a photograph.
Okay, so what if I like I have that picture up there like right now? What if I was like, I'm just kind of spitballing, so don't take it verbatim. But what if I was like, this picture is of couple blank and blank. When I first met with them, they were talking about how they're awkward in pictures and they don't know what to do. And this is a picture during their wedding where you wouldn't believe that they didn't know previously, or maybe something like, this is a picture during their wedding showing, how comfortable they can be, and something like that. Is that pretty much kind of what you're saying?
I like that, but I like that for the experience page.
Oh my gosh, I'm just an idiot, dude.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not. And you could do it this way, but I'm basing this off of looking at a bunch of what works. So to me, I would say you could do that, but here's what I want people to do. I want people to come in and them to see this vision that is focused on them first. So even more so than focusing on the picture, when we just tell the story. So like in this moment, and I'm just going to make something up because I don't know them and I don't know this moment, but it's like, what are their names? So I don't have to make up names though.
Michaela and Isaac.
Okay. So, she had just walked down the aisle and his eyes had welled up with tears. She got to the end of the aisle and got handed off, and his smile went from ear to ear. Okay. Now, I could probably be a lot better in how I tell that story, but stop there. In that moment, as I took that picture, I had clarity of exactly why I was doing this. Because seeing my couples feel totally relaxed and comfortable in front of my camera as they experience the most joyous moments of their lives is one of the most satisfying things that I can do. For me, it all began when, tell your brief backstory. Then once you've got your backstory, fast forward to today, and I'm photographing X type of couples, providing X type of photographs that provide X type of emotional benefit. So to see more about my unique approach, visit my experience page. They click the experience page, go on over. Now it's all about, you can help them to feel like, wow, I can really relax. Because now it's more about the benefits as they visualize themselves working with you. Does that make sense?
I guess a little. So in other words, like the homepage one is just an initial story that kind of like gets their interest. It's not really an experience designed to kind of persuade them or anything, but just kind of to a little sneak peek of like of what experience they could expect maybe.
Well, you're sharing, it's okay, like again, like if you were to go on a first date with someone, okay, I'm not saying in real life, but let's pretend for a second, first date with someone, and the whole time you're just trying to convince them why they should marry you. That would probably be a little bit weird. On the flip side, if it's your first date and you're just you, and maybe you even share some of the things that you like the most, you know, you tell some stories about how, you know, you used to go to the theme park with your best buddies as a kid. Like those things are so non-threatening, and it doesn't come off like you're trying to convince someone to go with you. It's just literally communicating your values and painting pictures in the mind of the listener. Now, once someone has bought into that, now they want to be sold. They want to be shown, okay, well, what does it mean if I go deeper with you? But we've got to get them to level 1 first. That's why really, like, we're not trying to convince them of how awesome you are. We're just trying to help you be the most you possibly can be without just talking about yourself. We talked about this in a different mastermind, and someone brought up, I actually know, I think it was a live stream. They had just watched like the Elvis movie. Apparently there's a new Elvis movie. And one of the points that someone else kind of brought up was like, Elvis's fame grew as he did something that was just more of him. Meaning that he wasn't trying to necessarily, you know, fall in line with the current trend or something. It was like, by him just being more Elvis, he became way more popular. And so in the same sense, good marketing is not trying to just be this thing, because that's kind of what everybody does. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be this style, and then I'm going to have these words, and we're going to talk about capturing the love story, and everything becomes like generic. Versus if we story tell, now we're more so painting the picture of our values. And that's why I try not to, you know, pick a specific story for you guys. I want you to think about it and come up with a story and tell it in your own unique voice, because I want people to start to hear you as they engage with your webpage. Because the more they hear you and they hear your voice, the more the mental model of you develops in their minds. So again, you know, like I kind of told like a story about this. Again, I don't know them. I wasn't there. But being able to share that story and then say, in that moment, here's what I felt. And then you briefly tell your backstory. You know, grandma asked me to climb up in the attic to grab the Christmas lights. And when I did, I saw grandpa's old film camera up there, and it still had a few frames left. Fast forward today, and I'm photographing X type of couples, producing X type of photographs, providing X type of emotional benefit. So to see how I'm uniquely serving Virginia couples, click on the experience button below and see more. Now they're going over there to go, oh, wow, because now they've already bought into it. If they're clicking it, they've bought into it. So now it's time to actively show them why they should really not even like why they should, you're actually just helping them visualize themselves working with you. So it's a picture of you, ideally a picture of you behind the scenes, doing something at a wedding. And then you're storytelling again about how you helped someone feel really relaxed. So you were talking to me about, this couple up here and how they were uncomfortable in the camera, and then XYZ, and now they're comfortable in front of the camera. The experience page is really where that stuff starts, because now you're able to tell a story about how they went from feeling awkward to feeling like amazing. Any questions about that?
I'm probably just gonna have to get somebody to help me because I'm literally an idiot. Like that's always been my problem. Everything you're saying literally makes sense, but I just can't do it. Like I need someone to literally like jot down a template or just ask me, like I don't know. Like I'm literally a moron when it comes to writing. Like I can ramble all day, that like stuff that makes sense, but I literally can't break it down into a couple sentences. Like I just need somebody else to do it or something. Like
let's do this so we can support you better. I'm going to have Tom as our client success specialist. I'm going to have him follow up with you. Does that sound good?
Yeah, because I'm just so totally lost. Like I want to give up so bad because it feels like every time I think I understand, I'm literally all the way wrong, and it's just aggravating.
Yeah, well, I can feel your frustration. Now, to balance that out, you're also the guy that ranked a page in 4 hours, which broke a record.
But what's ranking matter when people don't even care what they see? It's like,
exactly.
Oh, this is nice, like cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's why we're having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So, but we have support. That's one of the things that you've tapped into here. So, like I said, Tom's going to follow up with you. Tom's already done all this, right? He's been through dream clients. He's ranked. He's booked. Okay, and he's client success. So I'm gonna have Tom follow up with you, and that's going to give you a little bit more hands-on help, because that sounds like exactly where you need to go with this. Does that sound pretty fair?
Yeah, I just need someone to kind of help me, like what to write. Maybe I like type up something, send it. Is this what you mean? And then maybe change this or that. Like
exactly,
that's what I need.
And I think that you don't want to be too hard on yourself, right? Because you got to love yourself, and if you're going to be sort of a leader for your couples, you got to start with how you treat yourself.
I don't know. It's
so
just
I want you to give yourself some grace, because I know you've said, "Oh, I'm a moron." You're not a moron. You're not a moron. So, but I can't convince you of that. You got to accept that. But you have made the choices to be able to get support, and so that's what we're here for. So, like I said, I'm gonna get you a group message with Tom, and Tom's going to be able to talk you through some of that stuff, right? And I think what you've done so far is you've taken some massive action and seen some results from it. Now it's just a matter of continuing that process. Okay. You got this. Once you get to the other side, you're going to feel like, wow, that really wasn't that bad. But it takes some discipline. It does take some discipline. So I think the way you're feeling makes 100% sense to me. That's why we've got support for you. Okay. Cool beans, man. Well, we're winding down to the hour here, and I do have to get ready we've got a live stream coming up inside of the EasySEO group. So with that being said, we'll jump off here. I think we got to pretty much, we got to everybody. So y'all, thank you for being here. And I know, Ariel, you did say about the podcast specifically for backlinks. I think the module actually talks about that, if I remember correctly. If you can check it out. I know you're going to message me here not too long. So if I'm telling a fib, you can let me know then as well. But it's pretty much the same thing, except you just don't, have to share it on your site. Although that's really good to do. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to jump off here. Thank you for being here. See you next mastermind session. Have a good rest of the evening. Bye, guys.